Hello, and welcome to Chapter 10 of Beast Fables, a role-playing game show that follows the lives of tiny beasts in a massive world. I'm Brian, and I'll be your narrator for today's game. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the founder of Dungeons on a Dime, a publishing imprint creating entry-level tabletop role-playing content. Tabletop role-playing game content, there's a G in there as well. Anyway, I wrote Adventures on a Dime, the system we're using today, as well as Vice and Virtue, which we're showcasing before the Kickstarter kicks off in November. Exciting stuff to come. Today I am joined by Atlanta, Fraser and Ver, three talented illustrators playing our delightful little beasties. Starting with Ver, could you please introduce yourself?
I can certainly do that. My name is Ver. I am an illustrator and comic artist. I use they, them pronouns. And in today's game, I will be playing as Balthazar of Blueberry Pond, a courageous toad knight who has finally reunited with his friend Pipistrel, and perhaps is about to make a new friend in the form of Lutzen the Craftpaw. That's how you say it.
Da-da-da. Next on our list is said Pipistrel. Atlanta, could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Atlanta. I am also an artist / illustrator / creative type person. I use she, her pronouns. I'm playing Pipistrel the Bat, our ridiculously silly but incredibly charming little bat friend who is very happy to be reunited with dear Balthazar, and is also very happy to still have her new friend Lutzen alive and well, considering last episode's escapades.
And
Big oof.
for the alive and well Lutzen, Fraser, could you please introduce yourself?
I don't know, that is debatable. So I am Fraser. I go by he, him pronouns. I am also an illustrator, creative type designer, character designer person. And yeah, I'm playing Lutzen, and he's just a stupid rat. He's just an idiot, but he's a miraculous inventor, but it's pure luck. He's great. He's fun. He's barely alive. But it's all good. We're just here to have fun. Have a good time.
Boy and friend.
He's a good boy and a good friend.
So those are our beasties. Today we are playing Adventures on a Dime, a role-playing system designed to tell exciting stories with simple rules. You can download these rules for free from doad.co.uk, so that's, DOAD for Dungeons on a Dime, and you can use the fully automated character sheet with our sponsor's website, Roll20. Roll20 is an easy-to-use virtual tabletop platform. It's basically the Zoom of board games. You can play online for free, roll dice, keep track of your campaigns, and even get digital adventures, artwork, games, everything else on their marketplace. You can even find the really cool character sheet that I'm about to show off, that if I can get my mouse to work, that has stuff in it. You can roll, get dice results. Oh my god, that was a nat 10!
Oh my god, that'll never happen again.
That was great.
That's it.
Balthazar, wow, Balthazar just did the most wonderful smile to someone across the table, and they felt very heartened.
Everybody liked that.
Yeah, he smiles, and everybody's just like, we must protect this toad.
Yeah, agreed.
You can write in jobs, you can type stuff, you can add items, you can take them away. It's a fully functional, fun character sheet, and it is available with the full Adventures on a Dime rule set through the Roll20 marketplace, or for your own games if you just select it as a custom character sheet. We love Roll20. They're our sponsors. They're great. Hooray.
Thank you, Roll20.
Thanks, Roll20.
Thank. If someone, and by someone I mean Ver, could remind us what happened in the otherwise very slow and boring episode of Chapter 9, that would be great.
So slow.
Yeah, I mean, really, what is there to say about it?
It's a bit of a bore, really.
Yeah, just, man. So we started out returning to Balthazar and his encounter, the end of his kind of interrogation of one of the songbirds that are part of some kind of group of thieves or con beasts that are intent on stealing the Iron Beetle, and he was attempting to escort these songbirds to a nearby town, Willowmoot, and at the very last moment they turned a tail and flew away. He managed to stop one, and it had implied that his dear friend Pipistrel might be in danger. Balthazar let this bird go and ran as fast as he could back to the scene that he had, or back to the area where he had left his friend Pipistrel. As he was near these tall grasses, he had spotted a smoke in the distance and the distinct scent of fire in the air. But he also managed to kind of hear the clinking and clanging of something mechanical, no doubt a creation of a fine craft paw. And figuring that this might be the iron beetle that he seeks, he, rather than going towards the fire, he went towards the site. We then very quickly returned to the kind of point of view of Pipistrel, who had undergone some adventures and found a new ally in Lutzen, who was also present at the scene. The two of them realized that one of the animals that are part of this kind of group of thieves or scoundrels, a squirrel named Chipper, has started operating the Iron Beetle, a incredible technological marvel created by Lutzen that takes the form of, much like its namesake, a type of iron beetle that can be kind of used as a vehicle. And Chipper has started figuring out how to use it and started kind of hoisting the thing up on its legs, hoping to make an escape. And the two kind of sprung forth, trying to stop her. Lutzen tried to disable some of the legs of this iron beetle. Pipistrel started climbing up a rock to try and land on its back and get some of these songbirds away from it so they cannot help Chipper on the inside. And it is in this moment that Balthazar managed to locate the two. In fact, his first meeting with Lutzen was Lutzen being thrown into the air and jettisoned away from the scene and right into his strong knightly arms. And then, returning the favor, he ran onto the scene and threw Lutzen back at the Iron Beetle, managing to strike one of the birds on its back, giving Pipistrel a kind of clear place to do whatever it is that she needed to do. Pipistrel, with some quick thinking, kind of clogged up some of the pipes on this iron beetle, and as our characters were kind of trying to collect themselves and gain their bearings, they realized that on the air, the scent of smoke and the heat of incoming fire is growing and growing. And amidst the mayhem in this little clearing, it was Lutzen that heard the distant cries for help. And our characters decided to turn their attention from the Iron Beetle and the thieves, in turn deciding that helping people amidst this fire is the greater good to pursue. Pipistrel managed to get off the back of the Iron Beetle. It had hobbled away as we decided to go forth and help whoever need helping. Lutzen managed to break out first before the other two, and he found an entrance to some kind of underground burrow. If from within he heard these calls for help, as we quickly realized, or it was Lutzen that was the first who realized, that a group of baby hares was stuck in this underground burrow. The smallest one managed to squeeze back through some back entrance and call for help, but the larger ones were stuck on the interior with smoke starting to build up and definitely causing them duress and, well, possible worst case scenario of collapsing amidst the smoke. With Lutzen's quick thinking and targeting weak spots in the wall, he managed to start dislodging some of the beams, and Balthazar came in and helped as Pip fastened some masks for everybody out of her bandages for all these little hairs coming through. And then we were beset with a task, with a harrowing escape from the flames towards the direction of Willowmoot. Our characters all did the best they could to guide her way across the flaming grasses and hearken the spirits of these little hares, making sure that none get lost and that they're not too scared. Our last obstacle was a field of embers that was between us and the town of Willowmoot. And we managed to create a kind of bridge of stones to go through the first kind of wall of fire, and then with Lutzon's help, we fastened or I guess it was Pipistrel and Lutzon kind of. I don't remember which one it was exactly, but we fastened a kind of like sort of like a cloth broom at the end of Balthazar's warhammer in order to swipe away the embers so everybody could pass safely. In the process, Balthazar had used up his banner of Blueberry Pond, but if there's anything that a knightly banner should be used, it is to the benefit and help of those in need. And we, after kind of overcoming this arduous path across the embers, we were met sort of almost halfway there by rescuers from Willowmoot itself, as a group of beasts managed to get to us, douse us with water to cool us off, and bring us into the safety of Willowmoot and the hostel of the Bent Branch, where we're all given water and a place to stay and rest before, well, I guess we decide what we want to do next. And that is where we had left off.
Damn.
That is a very succinct summary. It's just
Yeah.
everything.
Literally, I was just sitting here listening, like, I love the way you're retelling this.
I'm a DM and I do the recaps for all my games. So I'm just kind of, I think, used to this. But I'm glad that it worked out. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it.
Okay,
Excellent.
so I'm gonna set the scene a little bit.
Okay.
Right.
Oh.
So you are in the Bent Branch. You don't really know what time it is, other than it's night. In the chaos of everything, you've entered this liminal space where, very dully, far above, you can hear the occasional four rings of the alarm bell, periodically. Not constantly now, but every now and then, beasts are coming in and out of the Bent Branch. Some are, many of them are carrying empty buckets and seem to be moving forward and out. And you seem to be in a sort of a sheltered corner where, with other beasts that have managed to make it to Willowmoot and have escaped the lick of the flames, seem to be sitting exhausted and soot-stained in chairs or on the floor, and just seem to be in a sort of quiet shock. The world seems to move around you, not through you. And we'll say you've had maybe half an hour now just to sort of catch your breath and to think and to collect yourselves.
I think that just during that half an hour, when we were given our first glass or like mug of water, Balthazar kind of took it and was like, because he's kind of exhausted, a lot happened, but then suddenly he like not shots it, but like glug 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 glugs the entire thing, turns to Pipistrel, says, is Pipistrel holding her mug of water, or is it on the table?
She's holding hers currently.
Okay, he says, Pip, put your water down.
She sort of, she looks at him slightly confused, and she puts it down.
He runs up and embraces her and picks her up and twirls her around, and says, "Oh, Pipistrel, in the midst of all of this and the danger and the nightly endeavors that we had to undergo, I forgot to say, I'm so happy to see you."
Oh.
And he kind of like puts her back down and is just like looking at her beaming with those golden eyes.
Oh my god, Ver, you're gonna make me cry.
Watson is just watching this, just like, oh, these guys really love each other. This is very sweet.
Like, in their very brief separation, because it was only maybe like most of a day, but like so much has happened, and Pip was like so kind of so happy to see Balthazar, and then but it was such a sort of tumultuous end to that day, was the fire and finding the hairs and stuff. But like, she doesn't really know what to say. She when Balthazar puts her down, she just kind of like wobbles on her feet a little bit, and then she goes back in for another just a gentle hug. She kind of puts her arms round his where his neck would be, he is.
Yeah.
I don't think he necessarily has like a
No,
neck.
he doesn't really.
Like-
But his head, he has shoulders, and then there's the head. So
Exactly.
There's room to put your arms around his.
Yeah.
It's not so much defined, but it is there.
But
Yeah.
she does like a very specific like bat hug. She like extends her wings a little bit and just like envelops him
Oh.
in like a hug. And it's just like it's a very like soft and quiet moment for her. And she's like, and she sort of says very quietly to him, it's very good to see you, Balthazar. Like she's tired and she's scared.
Yeah.
But she's very
Um,
happy to see him.
Just a quick, I think, Brian, I think the captions on this stream are frozen.
Oh, that seems strange.
Oh,
Just as a little,
Good catch.
no worries. I wasn't sure if you want to pause just before we
I
get to
had
it.
noticed that if I don't have the... It's strange. If I don't have the Google thing up, then it doesn't like it, which is
Oh, how
annoying.
odd. So
That's
I can
very
minimize
bizarre.
it. Technical things.
Good catch. I will keep an
Yeah.
eye on that
Cool.
and see if I can
but
update
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think Watson is just kind of sitting, just kind of catching his breath, like close by, but just aside. Oh, it's going now. Yeah, so he's just kind of sitting aside, just kind of watching this happen, and just kind of smiling to himself, and just kind of taking in the world around him as people are running about and moving, and yeah, just sitting kind of quietly to himself.
Oh,
I think after Pipistrel is kind of got all the hugs she needed. But because like Balthazar's kind of gonna step away a little bit and like with his hands like on her shoulders, basically like appraising her, if she's okay and stuff like that. And he says, after that scoundrel of a songbird said that the true intentions that group had, I was so worried, and then he kind of looks over to Lutzen and says, but I suppose in that time the two of you have found yourself together and kept yourself safe, I understand.
Pip
And he
looks
kind
over
of-
to. Sorry, no. I was gonna say Pip looks over to Ludson and like she smiles at him and she says quickly, it's like, well, our meeting was certainly unusual, but I think we've become fast friends, don't you think, Ludson?
Oh yes, I would definitely agree. We're good friends now. I wouldn't say it's perfectly, strange way that we met. It's I've met many a friend in a muddy pond, but that's just me.
Pip would laugh at that.
A muddy pond, that's how most toads meet each other. So as far as I'm concerned, best way to meet fine fellows.
Agreed. Few finer places.
We did this the Toad's way, clearly, Balthazar.
Mm-hmm. He kind of just nods in approval. But he's gonna like kind of turn more toward Lutzen and say, I only kind of guessed that you might be Lutzen because I think all the craft paws were in the town at the time. But I suppose we have not actually officially introduced ourselves to each other. I am Balthazar of Blueberry Pond, and I am on a very important mission of escorting Pipistrel, our fine mutual friend, to the great town of Odoak. Though we have found ourselves at a little detour, finding that strange colluxerated rig, car, if you will.
Oh yes, it's lovely to meet you, Balthazar. This is very true. I suppose it is our first meeting. Well, our first conversation per se. I think we met very briefly when you caught me and threw me, and yes, but
Well-
lovely to meet you nonetheless.
Well, was that contraption, was it something that your guild made? Because we are supposed to find you and it for, Grimble. But, well, we found you, but I think the thing itself had been whisked away by that, and he kind of, like, his eyes kind of turn a little, like, brighter with anger and says, by that squirrel chipper.
Oh yes, the beetle. I had quite forgotten about that. A little bit kept aside with the fire and the screaming and all of those things. But yes, maybe we should. And he kind of sits and ponders for a minute and just kind of like not looks off into the distance, but just kind of like you clearly see him getting lost in his own thoughts and then kind of snapping back and like, I'm sorry, were you saying something?
I suppose, sort of, Pip kind of standing up and sort of walking over to Luds and is like, I suppose we should probably tell Grimble that we did, in fact. Well, I think rescue is probably a bit too strong of a word, but we found you, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she must be worried sick in this fire and with an engineer missing somewhere, who knows where. I think it would be good to let her know that you are indeed accounted for and safe.
Oh, of course. Grimble will be missing me terribly. We must go and see her very soon. Very soon.
Is Grimble still at the Benton branch?
You go to her room and check on her.
I think we might as well as we're here.
Mm-hmm. As we're kind of resting.
Mm-hmm.
So you make with your tired limbs, long and arduous climb up to Grimble and Lutson's office on the top floor of this rather large hostel. Who opens the door first?
I feel like somebody just charge in. If it's his office, I feel we just kind of like charge in, like, Grimble, don't worry, I'm safe.
You throw the door open, and the whole office is in complete disarray, Lutson. All of the oils that you had been testing and organizing have just been stacked against the wall. All of the tools that you had in arm's reach are now hung up on pegs. All of the wood and coal interactions you had been slowly having tick away in the corner on the wooden floor have been cleaned up. There's a rug on the floor. I mean, why would you put a rug on a floor?
Stupid.
All of the gears and the half-built mechanisms that you were in the process of fixing are nowhere to be seen. The chests are closed. You had them specifically open, and the beds are made. This is a travesty.
He just kind of stands there in complete shock of just, this is not how I left it. What? Grimble?
You poke your head further into the room and look around, and Grimble isn't here. No one is.
Is there... Okay. Is there any evidence that Grimble has been here? Is there any notes? Can I have a little nosy around for any notes or any
You go over and look around some of the desks, and you see that there was, or is, a ledger out. It's one of Grimble's ledgers. And they seem to have been, or she seems to have been in the middle of writing something. There's a massive ink smudge across the page. And that's it. The writing seems to be some kind of report to the chapter house where did I say the main chapter house for the Craft Wars was? I can't remember. The chapter house headquarters, like the lead chapter house of the guild.
Okay. I think he'll just be kind of very curiously just kind of looking around and trying to pick out any evidence, just kind of scurrying about in a very kind of ratish manner. Just taking it all in. I don't know if you two would be following in or just kind of standing at the door, but either way, he'd be kind of scurrying about.
I think Pip would come in too, and I think she would sort of, in her sort of inquisitive way, would kind of have noticed that Ludson was not best pleased with how things have been left.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit distressed almost, and that it's kind of organized.
Yeah.
I can't believe that they have actual bedding on their beds. Ours were just planks on the ground.
Yeah.
Watson just kind of perks up and agrees, yes, why would you have bedding on the bed?
Pip just goes over and puts a gentle paw on the bedding and it's ooh, it's soft.
It's very soft and laundered.
And laundered.
Oh my God. I feel like as Watson is going around, he will be putting things back to where he would like them, so reopening the chests and re-putting the tools out in a disorganized manner.
I feel like Lutzen isn't doing it intentionally. Lutzen,
not at all.
as Lutzen is going around the room investigating, you're picking things up and going, this isn't where I put it down, and then you put it down, and then you go around the room slowly but surely making a mess of it again.
Yeah, 100%.
Like
He's kinda leaving
opening
them
drawers
open.
and looking for things, and they go, "Oh, not here," and then just leaving the drawer open with half the stuff just
Yep.
leaning out, and yeah.
Yep, very on brand.
Balthazar has walked up to the bed as well and is also touching it. And is gonna sit on it.
Oh.
Just because it's nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's gonna look around the room.
The bed
and
has a
say,
slight. Now that you're sitting on it, the bed has a sort of a crisp, almost crunch to it. You sit down and you pat it with your hand, and you realize that it's a mattress stuffed with grass.
Ooh, grass mattress.
"This is the Ritz, Pipistrel." Yeah, no, he's just gonna kind of sit down on it, looking around. But then he'll say, "Well, if Grimble isn't here, I imagine the craft paws could be a great help in quelling some flames. I mean, they seem like the explosive bunch. Perhaps she is out helping with the fire relief."
I mean,
That is very true.
I would hope so. I mean, I think half the town went to help with the fire effort. I think.
Yeah. Would I know this, Brian? If this is how is this how Grimble likes it? Has it been tidied up intentionally? Like, this is Fraser asking, not Lutzen.
I think Fraser as Lutzen. Yeah, this is exactly how Grimble would tidy it up.
Okay.
And to some degree, in the back of Lutzen's mind, not that you necessarily are acknowledging it. Like, you're not feeling that there's been, like, an assault and that she's been kidnapped. It's more like, oh, everything's not right as I put it, and you're messing things back up again. But you know that, I'm sorry, my neighbor is randomly knocking.
Yeah, I
on
just
the
wanted
ceiling.
to ask.
What that was.
Like a light
So that's not
switch
me.
or-
Yeah.
I think he's just hammering
it's
something.
your mic, but
Anyway, you know that Grimble is a stress cleaner, which is,
love that.
and Lutzen, it's one of the only things that Lutzen really doesn't like about Grimble, or that you don't really like about Grimble, because she's quite likable in general, but God, she just messes everything up in your workshop by organizing it. I mean, how can you get any work done?
This is very true. So, okay, as long as Lutzen would kind of know that, like, Grimble has been here and hasn't, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you had this.
This
God.
guy.
Lord.
This
What's going
guy.
on?
what is happening?
At first, I just thought you had a very furious leg twitch. You know?
Me too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I
it's like-
thought someone's knocking on like their desk, like
Yeah.
nervously, like
Yeah.
with their fingers. But then it just turned into pure
Brian's away
chaos.
to go and, like,
I
Brian's
want you
away
to
to,
know
like,
that
load
when you're
the
not hearing
shotgun.
it, I'm just muting my mic. Like, it just keeps happening.
Oh god.
no.
God.
Oh, Brian, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Mute the mic and load the shotgun.
Ugh.
Anyway,
So what is Lutzen doing? What are you guys doing?
it's a very good question. What are you two doing? What are you guys? What's Pip and Balthazar doing? Paul, I'm kind of just
Balthazar is
scurrying
sitting
about.
but slowly falling asleep on the very, very soft and lovely mattress. Like he's sitting, but you know, in that way when you have we have those like videos of kittens who are sitting up and falling asleep and they kind of pick back up the moment that they start losing
Yeah.
balance. Like that's him. He's just sitting down and kind of not realizing that he's dozing off. And then yeah.
Balthazar, I want you to make a vigor check for me.
Oh.
Can't wait to pass out. Let me I actually hope I fail this one.
dumb question.
Oh, I have a D4 for vigor right now? Holy
yeah.
heck.
Oh yeah, we need
Oh
to.
no, come on.
Critical success.
I think that's the only time you've been upset about getting a critical success on a 4.
Yep.
So you do better than expected. Narrative describes how things go in your favor. Your sense of duty is present and forefront in your mind, and though you feel tired, you do not succumb to sleep sitting on this soft mattress.
Oh,
God damn it.
baby.
And you are made aware, as the adrenaline and the stress is starting to slowly ease from your body, that your arm is starting to ache beneath your armor.
Oh,
I was gonna say
no.
we need to all rest, right? Like,
Yeah,
what's going on like outside? I know you said that lots of people are running about, but like, is it still chaos outside, or like?
So Lutzen, you go to your window over one of the desks, and you kind of open it and stick your snout out. And do rats have snouts? Muzzle?
Yeah, they've got a snoot.
Your face,
It's like,
your
it
snoot.
is a little rat snoot. Yeah.
Yeah. You stick your snoot out and you have a little look around. The smell of burning grass, smoke, and wildfire is thick in the air, but much of the smoke seems to have passed by Willowmoot. It seems to be a general haze in the air now. Okay. You see glowing gently in the ever-present light of the sky in two directions. The fire is still going, far off, but you also see that very gently the sun is starting to rise.
Okay.
Oh god,
The very first lights of dawn are diffusing through the smoke-filled sky. And you see the silhouettes, more than the actual figures themselves, of beasts of all different shapes and sizes. There's a perimeter around Willowmoot on guard, and occasionally one group coagulates and goes off and then retrieves a group of animals that they seem to have spotted that you can't, but they materialize out of the shadow of night. Another group of people fleeing the flames, and there seems to be a constant coming and going of beasts into the fields, or what remains of the fields nearby. You see that there is a general... I mean, you knew it was like this before, but there is a large culling of grass around Willowmoot from the first fire that happened a few weeks ago. And so there's a big fire break. So Willowmoot was never in danger of a fire coming through. But they seem to be much more prepared for this fire, seeing as they've just come out of one a little while ago. So things are busy. But also, it's not an apocalypse, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not
no one's like screaming, and there aren't kids in the street going like ah, and buildings collapsing. Like everyone seems to know what they're doing.
I'm sorry for having had laughed at kids screaming. I'm not heartless. It was just a funny noise that Brian made.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. So I think like in kind of looking out at the landscape and just taking it all in, I think it might kind of hit Lutzen that like, oh, I kind of caused this. Like, and kind of thinking back, recalling like the encounter with the snake and using it like in the moment, the panic of in the moment, using the lenses to try and blind the snake and accidentally something happening. Or I don't know. Do you think he would? Yeah, I think he would probably
make a cunning roll for me to put things together and see. This is to see. What, like, I feel like Lutzen is smart enough, because Lutzen is smart, he just has a very, very low sense of self-preservation.
Like, and, like, retention of information.
Yeah, well, you retain information, it kind of comes together quite sporadically. With a 6, I'm going to say that you realise two things. You realise that you using the lens to blind the snake may have inadvertently started a small spark, or like ignited just the tiniest bit of grass, which will have become this blaze. Yeah. And second, realizing how distracted Pipistrel was in the moment, you're the only person who knows that this wildfire was caused by you.
Oh no.
Whoa.
So this could have come out of anywhere, and no one knows. In theory, it comes together that no one could know where this comes from, and wildfires do just start. I
mean, I think like Balthazar, I think he would have, because he can't fall asleep. God damn it! He's kind of like doing that thing where he's like, moving his arm, like kind of unaching his arm from whatever soreness it could have, kind of rubbing his shoulder. Realizing that he needs to take off his armor. Yeah.
Well, you kind of go, I need to take off my armor, and you touch your left arm, and you realize it's your whole left arm is burned.
Oh no!
Oh, shit.
From when you fell into the fire.
I did.
You did. That's when you took your last bit of vigor damage last session. You were making a bridge through the active wall of fire for the kids and the others to cross.
Yeah, and he didn't like flinch for it to get the
And you took some vigor damage. It's not the end of the world, so to speak, or the end of Balthazar, but you realize that like you need to take care of yourself. It's not just an ache; it's you've got an active like injury, a wound. But not injury in Adventures of a Dime Time. It's not you have lost all agency. It's just you're like, owie, burn.
Sort of like Pipistrel's.
Wing, yeah.
Wing. Yeah. Well, as he's kind of realizing this, and I think he's gonna start like peeling off his like or I forget what they're called, like the gauntlets and stuff, or just the stuff that he has on. He doesn't have like gauntlets on his hands, but he does like on his wrists and forearm.
Yeah.
He's gonna kind of start peeling those things off, but just kind of as a follow up of like, oh, where did this wildfire come from? And Lutzon's own realization. I think Balthazar's like looking up also through the window, like from where he's sitting at this haze, and he says, "Oh, that's Chipper. I'm sure it was her and that blasted. I apologize, Lutzen. That blasted contraption. It was full of coal and oil and smoke. I'm sure it was their doing."
I think Lutzen will just kind of sit quietly and kind of slump down in his little chair, just a little, not like very visibly, but just kind of sit and rest and just sit kind of within himself a little bit.
Yeah, sit with the information that Lutzen knows.
Yes, definitely. I think he'll kind of say to Balthazar in response of like, sorry for like your construction, like, no, it's fine. The beetle was an experiment, and we'll just kind of sit kind of quietly.
Oh no, I feel really bad.
It's a shame that it fell into such wrong hands. You shouldn't feel bad that it is perhaps your contraption that caused this. It was all Chipper, wasn't it?
And I think Lutzen will just kind of just nod gently and just say, well, that is the thing about tools. They can be used for great and terrible things.
Balthazar just kind of nods solemnly, as a knight with weapons. Yes, indeed.
I think Lutzen would also notice, like, you kind of caressing your arm a little bit and just perk up and like a distraction of like, oh, that looks rather sore. Let me see if I can help with that of any sort.
Well, I think it's not just sore. I think it's, and he's gonna like pull up because I guess the padding, there's those types of padding where the shoulders are actually detachable, or like the arm padding is detachable, and he detaches it, and yeah, it's gonna be just like his arm is burned.
Oh no!
Underneath. Well, I imagine if it's through clothes and stuff, it's probably like maybe as much second degree burn, more than like third or anything, because there wasn't direct exposure to flame, but it was still hot enough. So yeah, his already kind of weird, bumpy skin kind of has additional bad
blisters.
Damage and kind of blisters on it.
Yeah.
And he just I think he just, because he rolled that that critical success on his vigor, I'd say he's kind of just, it's not like he's taking it in his stride, but he's just very much working through it, and just he's in that state of, sometimes when you injure yourself not grievously but more considerably than you're used to, you're actually overcome with this very strange calm of like, oh, this is happening. Okay, I gotta go get some bandages.
Yeah.
So
well, that's the adrenaline. Like, I don't think the adrenaline has actually quite left your system, so you're in this sort of very like, oh, this isn't the worst thing. I've seen entire toads eaten by boars. I'm not one of those toads, so I guess I'm doing okay.
Yeah, he's seen some stuff. So he's just kind of looking at the burnt arm, and at Lutzen's proposal of, I can have a look. He says, well, you wouldn't have anything that can treat burns, do you?
I think Lutzen, there would definitely be something in his office where he experiments quite frequently with volatile materials to repair gentle burns and bandages of some sort. But that's up to you, DM.
No, in your office, definitely. Especially as it's sort of like a home base for you and for Grimble. You know where there is a beeswax salve with a lavender tincture mixed in with it that is good as aftercare for burns. But what this needs right now is just cold, fresh water and to soak.
Okay.
I think Pip sort of, seeing like Balthazar like actually injured, like she's not been like snooping around, but she's like been wandering around the office and looking at Ludzen's inventions and like the books and the notes and things like that, because she's very curious. But like ears would have like perked up, like and also because like, and I don't mean this in a gross way, but like I imagine that burn will probably smell pretty bad because this is like cooked toad flesh
Yeah,
underneath
wet.
armor.
Yeah,
Wet-
yama
yeah.
yama.
Yeah.
You
Like
know,
steam
French
and
Well,
cuisine.
so I will say it's hot through armor. It's a blister, but like I've burnt myself a couple times pretty badly doing dumb stuff by accident. Hashtag scouts. And it's not like it's like let's get the cook on. It's not got a visceral smell. It's just owie blisters.
Well,
Yeah.
but like sort of hearing that Balthazar's like, oh yeah, I should probably like get that scene to Pip would come over and like lay a gentle hand on like Balthazar's good shoulder and and say, well, what can I do?
I think during this, Watson will kind of let me go and grab a few things, and we'll go and fetch like some water, like a little pail of water, and I kind of just run out with a wee bucket, take his backpack off, and leave it on the desk, and just like scurry out with a little pail to go and get some water to keep it fresh and keep it clean. And
we're
kind of leave
gonna-
you guys.
We're going to follow Lutzen for this part of the story for a minute or so. So, Lutzen, you go down the stairs, you grabbed a bucket, which is like mostly clean, that you would have used for water, for filling up steam engines, or like little contraptions that you have. So you just grab that bucket and you start running down the stairs. Describe what it looks like that you're going and getting this water.
Okay. So just to set the scene of like where this hostel and stuff is in the tree. Like I've not heard too much about the relation, like how the tree.
So I'm going to draw you a little map. I'm gonna
cool.
unfortunately delete my delightful drawing of the beetle because it is now gone.
No,
Lost.
the beetle forever. I did take a screenshot of it.
If this is the tree that I am drawing here with the little sticky addy bits, if that's the willow of Willowmoot, there is a road that leads out. That is that line, and the bent branch is that little square. It's outside the tree, and there's many other buildings of similar and bigger and smaller sizes around the base of the tree, sort of like a proto town that's building up.
Yeah. Okay. I imagine we were up in the tree, but that also makes much more sense. Okay, got it.
No, the tree is residence, and they're built. It's not in the tree. The tree isn't large enough to live inside of, and it's still alive. Instead, the houses are built into the side of the tree and up the tree on scaffold.
That's so cool. Okay, I love that. Yeah. So imagine like, I don't know, if we're up like slightly higher up, I imagine there's like a little, not like a dumbwaiter lift, but a kind of little pulley system that he would kind of jump on, elevator-esque style thing. This is when I thought it was up in the tree, so that's why it's in my head. Kind of jump on that with a pail and just kind of scurry along outside to a little stream. Or if they have a water
So
supply, I
there's
don't
a
know.
well actually. You kind of and you know where it is. You go to the side of the tree. You kind of go up the street to the side of the tree. You go up the dumbwaiter to the well drill, which is sort of on scaffolding and it's halfway up the tree, so that people can come down the tree to it or up the tree to it. And it's on up a scaffold or there's a ramp as well. And you fetch a pail of water and you run inside. I want you to make. Just describe what the process, how Lutzen is feeling, and what the actions look like.
Okay.
In your own words.
I think, given the kind of weight of the realization that Lutzen had, I think he will be quite silent to himself, not necessarily moping or kind of. I think he'd be very thoughtful. He's still kind of rushing because obviously this is important and this is current. This is kind of a distraction for him at the moment. So he will still be quite quick with it because he knows that Balthazar needs care like straight away to prevent it getting worse after all the burns that he has had himself. I don't think he would really be acknowledging many people as he passes by. I think it's just going to beeline straight for the goal, which is the well, and just kind of taking his time. And as he's kind of bringing the well up, just thinking to himself and just letting the thoughts mull over in his head. Obviously, there's a lot of scattered thoughts of, like, was it me, or maybe it must have been. But then, oh no, but it couldn't have ever started to be that such a huge fire from something so small. Like, but it was in self-defense, like like we were fighting a snake, and surely that's not a bad thing. And then he kind of thinks more of, oh, has the fire hurt anyone? Like, have I hurt anyone?
I think to augment these sorts of thoughts, you're like. This is a more cinematic description, but Lutzen is very focused on this task of down the stairs with the bucket to the lift, and as you're having these thoughts, this sort of internal monologue that the audience can hear, you're passing a field hospital, which is one of the buildings that is now just converted into animals where they can get care. And you're passing a family that all sort of like clustered together in the shelter of the tree, all hugging each other because presumably they've just, lost their home. And you're seeing mirrored the consequences of the fire as you move through this little part of Willowmoot. You fill the bucket, there's a slight queue, but ultimately most of the fire seems to have passed Willowmoot, so there aren't any bucket chains anymore, and the water seems to mostly be gathered into larger containers for fire relief, so the well queue is not as big anymore. You get the water, you go back. I'd like you to make a cunning roll for me to see how observant you are of the things going on around you.
Okay. Oi, oi, oi.
So you are aware, and you're kind of taking in these consequences. And again, this is purely cinematic for the audience. The one thing you do miss as you walk up the stairs is the unconscious form of Crier being taken away on a stretcher.
I don't see that at all.
Oh, I
No.
wanted to ask about Crier.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Okay.
And you go back up the stairs and you see the little cultit thief that you had rescued from the flame be taken away on a stretcher somewhere. But Lutzen doesn't notice that.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I think he's just kind of like nose to the ground, like, let's get this done. Okay.
So, in the meantime, in that interim period, what have Pipistrella and Balthazar been doing?
I think maybe Balthazar could ask Pipistrel to, like, just to, take his mind off of the horrible burns, like, ask her to basically retell just, like, what happened and, what was that about a mud pond? Basically to get caught up on Pipistrel's side of things. Unless Pipistrel wants to, is just like, let's not do that, I have to steal things or something.
I don't like this assumption that you just made about my character. That's
I have
totally
no
valid.
time for retelling. I must thieve.
I must be a
Lutzen would not
thief.
notice, just by the way. He would have no clue.
100% not going to steal from Ludson. I think Pip would, she would sort of, when she gets nervous, like, her ears, which are quite large and obviously quite noticeable, like, they go back slightly. So she would definitely humor, like, Balthazar, and she would tell them the intrepid tale of sort of following Chipper and her first disastrous attempt at flying again and losing Chipper, but then finding all these nuts and bolts on the ground, eventually finding Ludson in a puddle, and their incident with getting him out of the puddle with the crow, but then the catapult later on, and then sort of all the way up to the to the snake, and she would she would be telling this story kind of with like a slight insincerity in terms of gusto. Like she's exhausted. She's worried about Ludson and how he's been acting just in those last few minutes, and also she's worried about Balthazar and how exhausted he is, and she does not like the look of that burn on his arm, and she's worried about him.
Oh, I think I imagine maybe as she's speaking, she's like glancing at the arm and then looking away.
Yeah.
And while Balthazar isn't a very perceptive person, but I think towards his friends he can be a little bit more emotionally intelligent. Like he sees that she's worried, and I think he just want to reassure her and just say, what this? Oh, don't you worry about it. It's but a flesh wound. Trust me, even in the ongoings up north, near near Loch Katrine, the involvement of the Boers, well, some of the things that I had seen people go through or not get through, were much worse. And for all this damage, we did a mighty good thing and saved some poor folk from a grim fate. And if it took a burn to do it, I will gladly take that.
I think sort of Pip would, she would be comforted by those words, but I think she would probably like sit down on the bed, facing Balthazar, and like I like the idea that because this is a bed built for rats, and rats are, not massive compared to bats, but are certainly bigger, that her feet like dangle off the edge of the bed.
Yeah,
so she kind of.
I feel like bats also, in terms of like size, like the scale, like you don't have a lot of leg,
no,
a lot of wing, so you've got little stumpy feet, like woo.
Yeah, she's got short legs compared to her overly long arms, but like she sits on the bed and she looks very small and tired. Like she's not wearing her flight suit at the moment either, so like she's all fuzzy right now. She's all her kind of her pale fur is kind of poking out through her tunic. But she would sort of look at Balthazar sort of quite quizzically and says like, I don't think I ever really asked you what the Boar War was like. We sort of met and started walking so quickly that I'd forgotten that you were starting this trip on the back of a war. She'd be kind of quiet and sort of sad looking in saying that.
He leans back a little bit, kind of pondering, because I think he hasn't really thought about it much himself. Because, Brian, do you remind me, the Boar involvement, because they were mostly in the south by the end, and Loch Katrine, because if I'm not mistaken, Loch Katrine is the lake over which kind of Blueberry Pond is, correct?
Yes.
So there were some boars there, and we did fight them, but it wasn't like as much of an onslaught as a lot of people down south had it. Like the areas where Greer would have been operating.
So your understanding, and I'm gonna click on the map to show you, but the boars moved through the open meadow hilly channel here, through Parsley Nook, through Willowmoot, through Aspen Grace, and then curved round Loch Katrine, and moved south. The Boar War has taken place over 2 years, and have been several large movements of boars through the area. You've been stationed in Brambledam and have been fielding off individual boar raids in this part of the forest here.
Yeah. Okay.
And
so it would have been individual boars. It wouldn't have been whole of them.
Groups of 2 or 3. A boar charge, as it's known, could be 30 or 40.
Oh my god.
And that is terrifying.
That's terrifying.
Yeah,
that is entire
totally,
towns
like,
disappearing in hours.
Yeah. Well, so I think Balthazar will kind of lean back and say, well, the knights of the Toad Knights of Blueberry Pond, we simply understood that when we were called for by our allies that we have to fight, and that's what we've always been in some way prepared for. So it was, well, par for the course of being who or what we were. In our humble side of Loch Katrine and the forest surrounding Brambledam, we would field groups of 1 or 2 boars, and well, when you have little knots or smaller knots of toad knights, sometimes we had to learn how to fight a foe such as a boar. It's not something that any of us were really prepared for, and those first months, a lot of squires lost their knights and then became the knights themselves, and sometimes they would be lost shortly after too. I was quite lucky to have a very good and very strong mentor, and admittedly, by some of the last attacks, I did lose her too. But that's what you sign up for when you become a knight. Service comes first, and doing what is right and what is good, regardless of the costs and your own expense. He kind of says, looking at the burnt arm. And he says, oddly enough, I don't really think... Well, I have stories, and I have memories both grandiose and victorious, and memories of loss and misfortune, but that's just what you do when you're a knight. I think any toad of any log would tell you it's just a way of living, and it is worthy.
I think she ponders what she said, and she sort of looks down at her hands, and she sort of takes a moment, and then she sort of asks, like, how were you... Surely this must have been so scary. Boars are so big and so dangerous. How were you not scared out of your skin all the time?
Well, I wasn't alone. There was always lots of us, or groups of our knights. And you know that each and every one has your back, and you have theirs. It is that strong sense of loyalty and devotion and kinship that I think lets you tackle anything. I mean, when I saw you jump on that iron beetle, wasn't it kind of the same? You knew that you're backed up by friends. I called out to you. Did you hear? I saw you waver, and then you corrected yourself and made that leap and graciously flew on its back, ready to do what is right. That's what carries knights. And I think that's also what carries friends, to protect each other, isn't it? Or doesn't it?
She nods, and she's sort of she looks at Balthazar with a sort of a kind of a new sort of appraisal, and she says, you know, Balthazar, you're much wiser than I think anyone would ever give you credit for, or certainly gives toads any credit for.
He kind of frowns at this, confused, because he doesn't understand why anyone would think toads can't be wise.
Exactly. She kind of realizes what she said, and it's like, not that people say that toads aren't wise, of course.
Well, I don't know why they wouldn't. Or I mean, I don't know why they would say that.
I think it would be almost funnier if you say, I don't know why they wouldn't say that. Wait. And at that moment, Lutzen comes in with the bucket of water.
And he'll just kind of gently kind of scurry up and just say, here, Balthazar, here's some things that'll give you a hand.
I'll give you my hand then, and he's gonna put it in the bucket of water, I guess, if it's meant to soak.
Well, I think Watson would take like a smaller like kind of bowl thing and just kind of start pouring the water down it, just to kind of keep the water running and cooling.
Ah, yeah.
So just like a smaller cup or something to kind of, yeah, and then we'd get some bandages and kind of bandage him up, and I wouldn't necessarily need like a sling or anything, but just, you know, enough padding and the salve and things, and just like, if you would allow me to, you know, to, and he would kind of gesture to kind of like pat it onto your arm and kind of apply it and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, by all means, you are the expert here. And he's gonna offer his hand.
Thanks, I don't think I'd say much for an expert, but sure. And he was kind of
more an expert than either Balthazar or myself, and sort of Pitt would smile at us. And
an expert by necessity.
I'm going to say that you've all had the equivalent of a breather by now, so each of you can increase one die by one size up to its base size.
Oh man.
Hooray.
Like a little rest.
I think I'm gonna do my vigor, because it's like appropriate for the scene, because he's actually getting healed.
I can only up my vigor, but I need to up it twice because I took... Oh no, I didn't actually. I only took one vigor damage. Hooray.
I have got a vigor and a willpower damage.
Oh, God.
So think about what you think has been better repaired through the actions you've kind of taken.
Probably not willpower.
So maybe with vigor, you've literally gotten your breath back. You've had time to recover or get away from the flame. Assess how many whiskers you have left. That's vigor. That's vigor restored.
How many whiskers do I have left? I lost another couple.
Hang on, I'm gonna roll for this.
Roll a d10.
Roll for whiskers.
take an average of 4d10. I don't know.
You have got 8 whiskers left.
Oh
No.
He lost 2 whiskers.
Oh dear. Okay.
The others are sort of burnt stumps.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, they're much shorter.
And all the whiskers on the right side of your face, which got closer to a bit of fire at one point, are a little bit shorter than the ones on the left side of your face.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you could probably like uncrinkle them a little bit and kind of even them out on one side. But I don't think he doesn't take too much pride in his appearance of his whiskers.
So cute, though.
I feel like Lutsen, in this meantime of kind of preparation as well, would maybe kind of reassess his kit and kind of very oppositely to how I think it was Pip kind of it was Greer, wasn't it, that had a pack that would unfurl and organise very specifically. Lutsen's just going to dump it all out onto the table, sort out what's there, just check what's there, and then probably add a bunch more stuff in that's just around the office.
So let's do that quickly. We're going to open up your character sheet to Letson.
Oh man.
You actually have all of your tools. And I don't see any carried items that you wouldn't have. So is there anything you think that Lutsen would want to add specifically to his carried items? Because you've got your bendy metal, your pouch of coal, your assorted lenses, your bag of bits and bobs.
Well, I think his wrench is obviously bent from the last encounter, so you might swap out another tool or leave or add another one in. I'm not too sure. I mean, like it's still functional, but slightly.
The weapon / 5th tool, that wrench is the largest wrench you had. The only other equivalent sort of thing that you've got is let's say there is a pretty sharp knife for cutting. No, there's a saw.
Okay.
There's a saw for cutting metal.
Okay, interesting. I feel he would probably. I don't know if he would take that.
Primarily cutting wood, and there is a tool you could have, which is like the not bandsaw, but the hacksaw, which is the little thin bit of metal that you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But no, you've got a bigger saw for cutting wood.
Yeah, I think that would make sense to take like the little hacksaw as a kind of I've been out in the wilderness now. I'm hardened. I know what I need. I don't know.
Just imagine Balthazar watches Lutsen pick up the hacksaw and reflexively kind of holds his hand like it's not that bad.
Oh yeah. I did. Oh my god, just in case it gets gangrenous. Oh lord.
Oh my god.
No, more so maybe Lutsen's just like, well, now that it's cooled off, it's primed for cutting.
Oh my god.
I feel like Lutsen would be the kind of surgeon that does the fastest amputation. The one that results in 3 deaths, where he cuts off 2 of his assistant's fingers, and someone in the audience dies of shock, and then both the assistant and the patient die of gangrene. That kind of surgeon.
Wow, just so a bad one then.
Yeah.
But
so
fast.
Not a surgeon, just a murderer.
Yeah, just kind of crazed.
But very, very fast, which is very important, clearly.
God.
You should join the Tanners.
Willamoot Hacksaw Massacre. Anyway, I think he'll add that to his kit.
Cool. I have added wood saw to your standard gear.
Cool. And that's replacing the wrench then?
Yeah. You kind of discard the bent wrench and it's sort of like clonk clonk.
Yeah.
Off a table.
This has expended its use. It's had its time.
Oh.
I'll just make another one. It's another time. Yeah.
So, how would we like to progress? Do we want to keep focusing on this sort of conversation and see where it's going? Do we want to speed things up? What do people want to do?
Well, I think it would be prudent for characters to maybe retire for a rest.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since I imagine they're kind of winding down and now very, very sleepy, because it's been a very long day for all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's probably a little bit of time passes.
I think also because if it's sort of the dawn is kind of breaking, Pip can almost feel kind of instinctively like she is going to fall asleep soon, whether she likes it or not.
Yeah, hasn't Pip been awake for or both of you been awake for over a day now? No.
Yeah. I guess a little over 24 hours. Oh no, actually no, because we got up. The timeline is that we got up in the morning, went scavenging a little bit for some food, and also to find the iron beetle. We found it,
Right.
but we were like going on all these circles trying to find it for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then it was nighttime by the time, or it was evening, sunset, when Balthazar confronted the birds, because they like flew away into the sunset.
Right.
And it was
okay.
nighttime when we all found each other.
Yeah, it has been a very long and very like stressful day, I think is
Yes.
sort of where we're at, and like
If we push it, then we'll be awake for over a day, but we
Yeah.
still have time to get some shut-eye.
absolutely.
Well, I'd say you're pushing 24 hours at this point. Like the
God.
sun now, like it is an orange dawn with the smoke still around, but a breeze is starting to push it off. You've tended your arm, you've talked, and you realize that, yeah, like it's solidly going in early morning now. The sort of time you woke up before.
Okay, so I think, yeah, Balthazar will propose that we all, retire to our quarters and get some sleep, get some rest.
I think Pip would kind of
And longingly look at the soft mattress and get up.
I mean, I feel like Watson would let you like both like stay in it. I feel like he would have his own weird little kind of nest of just crap to kind of lie down in.
oh.
Like the
I
bed
think,
is definitely not his. It's so nicely made.
I think sort of like hearing Balthazar saying like, I think we should retire. I think Pip is like, she's still sitting on the bed from their conversation, and she's doing what Balthazar was doing a minute ago. Like she's kind of, her head is going like, ugh. And the ears are going down. You can see the hands going up to her face, because like she doesn't necessarily sleep upside down like a bat would all the time, but she does do the bat thing where she does like wrap herself up in a little wing cocoon to go to sleep.
Cute.
So you see the arms kind of starting to creep round her shoulders as she kind of wraps herself up on this bed.
I think seeing that, Watson would just like let either of you or both of you have the bed, and would kind of find a blanket or something to kind of curl up near with and just in the office. It's definitely not the first time he's fallen asleep on the floor, just like with stuff scattered around him. So.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Then
please.
maybe just over the course of our characters are kind of, still going over things and then just slowly settling in, and then everybody just falls asleep where they are.
I think it's a very
Balthazar
gradual.
he would have taken his armor off sometime just when we were in the room, because it's been a hot minute. So he'd shed the armor and then like sit back. Like I think after shedding the armor and sitting back on the bed, that's when the like sensation of "I am not on duty anymore" kind of sinks in. Add armor, add nightly duties.
Uh-huh.
I think sort of Pip, if Balthazar is like on the bed, I think Pip would do like in her kind of little bat burrito thing, she would kind of like shuggle herself closer to Balthazar and then just be like out like a light.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking how do toads sleep, and apparently they just kind of like loaf like a cat.
Oh,
Quite good.
that's adorable.
So I mean, I think they just like go into like a burrow in because they hibernate in the mud. But there's just the first picture is like a very loafy toad, and I'm just like, yeah, that's it.
I feel like there's
Both
a
of
sort
those
of
are just
they have this sort of knitted vine anorak, sort of like a cone with the top cut off that goes on top of them, and they just sort of like expand and contract as like a loaf inside of this anorak. I'm gonna draw a little example. So you've got your toad loaf here, and then they've just got like this anorak that goes over the top as opposed to like a blanket.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Like that.
It's like a little tent over the top.
Oh.
And then they just sort of like by snoring they just get like bigger. Like they fill up with more air. And then just sort of like pancake when they breathe out.
Wow.
That
That's
is
good.
Such a cute visual. I love that.
That's very good.
Very good.
I think as everyone's nodding off, Lutzen would see the two on the bed, let them nod off, and would kind of find a spare blanket and put it over them. And then he would kind of find another one and kind of, pile it up at, like in a little corner and a few things around and kind of nuzzle up on that and kind of take a little bit longer to fall asleep, just thinking more about the fire, but eventually kind of finding some sort of peace in slumber.
Well, not quite.
Oh,
I'm going
no.
to say Balthazar. So, the manifestation of death appears and attacks. Roll for initiative.
I defend Lutzen.
Yes, we are all sweepy.
Balthazar and Pipistrel are fully asleep when there is a...
Is that your neighbor or you?
That was me this time. The door pushes open and a soot-stained and dark circles under the eyes Grimble appears in the doorway just as you're about to nod off. You're sort of like curled against the desk, surrounded by grease and bits, and I think you're using one of the cans of oil as like a headrest. And Grimble, who looks very tired, kind of looks over the room, looks at the bed, cocks her head, and then looks back through the mess, almost following it like a trail to you. And then one eyebrow cocks up.
I think Lutzen's ears would kind of perk up a little bit, and just would jolt up and be like, Grimble! Grimble! And would kind of rush over and just check how they are.
She looks at you with at first shock, and then relief, and then sort of just tired annoyance, and goes, well, I'm glad you're safe. Hello. Oh, it has been a very long night. Where have you been? Have you got the beetle? Oh, you're safe. That's good. Are you hurt? Instead of the questions start to pour out of her, quietly, aware that the expanding and contracting form of Balthazar and the all I can think of is like you know how the typical goth death where they've got the arms crossed over the chest, person to coffin sort of look, except that's Pipistrel with the wings. Like the coffined Pipistrel, and then like the orb of Balthazar asleep on the bed.
I love it.
I think Lutzen would kind of quietly respond, like, well, I've made a couple of new friends, and they're asleep, so maybe we should speak outside. I know you wish to probably rest, and so do I, but I do not wish to wake them.
That is a good idea. Come, let's go outside. We've got a lot to fill me in on. And she kind of steps into the corridor. There is like warm sunlight filtering in from the windows up top, giving everything a yellowish morning glow.
Okay.
And she sort of starts to walk down towards the common room, assuming you're kind of going with her.
Yeah, I would follow along.
So, first of all, you're okay. I presume this is because Balthazar and Pipistrel, the mercenaries I hired, have found you and escorted you safely back. Whatever happened with the beetle and your journey? You've been gone for 3 days.
Oh, has it been 3 days?
Well, this is
Curious.
the 3rd day now.
Oh, curious. Well, yes, I am safe. I did not realize you knew my friends here. Yes, they separately, but managed to find me, and I say find me. They stumbled upon me. Yes, I'm fine. I'm okay. Thank you, Grimble, for your concern. The beetle, there was more pressing matters. The beetle is still missing, unfortunately.
That is a shame, but well, this is a bit unprecedented. No one expects a wildfire, especially lightning, to strike twice.
I think with that, he would just his ears would kind of deflate a little bit and kind of fold back a little bit, kind of in the I guess kind of shame, or just there's an indication there.
And she she looks at you and cocks her head and just puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "It's all right, Lutzen. I'm sure you'll be able to think of something else to make. I know that your inventions are very come and go, but perhaps you'll make a bird next. I mean, beetles are very, very ground-based. I'm sure you could, a bird or a dragonfly or..."
think with that, one of his ears would perk up as a kind of, well, that is an idea, and his brain would start racing, but he'd kind of shake his head a little bit to kind of scatter the ideas away for the moment, because this is more important.
Yes. And she recognizes the
she knows.
intrigue that she's sparked, and she's like, yes, okay, good, plan worked. Why don't we go to the common room and we'll sit down and we should have a talk. I'm quite tired. This probably isn't the best time. I've been helping with organising the fire redirection to the north to make sure that it doesn't spread to Aspen Grace. You know that we were here only to fix up the beetle and then to take it on to Bramble Dam, where they're making such a strange contraption. I don't even know if they have a name for it yet. Now that we no longer have a beetle, you said it's not to be found. Did you have a trail you could follow? Is it gone? Or is it just not found?
It is. There could be a trail. We were rather distracted by the fire and had to rescue a few people in close by. Unfortunately, I know of the squirrel and things, right?
Yes.
I mean, I've seen them, but I know that they were party to it.
Well, you saw the squirrel trying to squish you with your own beetle, so you can presume that they weren't necessarily of the nicest of intents.
Yeah, but I didn't know them before this until I saw them, right?
You had met them. They said they had been kidnapped by otters who had taken the beetle for a joyride.
Right, okay. Yep.
A story which, now in hindsight, and I'm going to presume like a conversation with Balthazar and Pipistrel, is probably a lie.
Yeah, I think I will say, well, it seems that the squirrel that Hijinks does and said that they had been captured, it seems to turn out that they had been the ones who had stolen it in the first place. And unfortunately, they have made off with it for now.
Made off with it? As in, it is now gone and they have it?
Yes, but I can't see it working for much longer. We tried to get it back, but we had to damage it in some capacity.
Well, it wasn't necessarily in the best of shape when we first had it and were repairing it. And I say I'll be honest, it was you and I was just getting in the way. And I'm going to say you're in the common room now. You've sat down. There are other animals, many of them are having their own quiet reconciliations and conversations. There's a hedgehog at the bar, kind of doling out water and organising things. You've sat down at chairs that are roughly shaped for, we'll say otters actually. They're very big, but they're the only free ones that are available. And the table is actually sort of at eye level as opposed to like appropriate arm's reach for regular size. So you're sort of at this oversized table.
Okay, I love that.
And you're talking, and she says, Grimble says, we weren't the best of workmates, I'll be honest. Our styles of craft don't gel very well together. I'm before the fire, before any of the disappearance, I presumed to be coming back after your jaunt, and we'd have the beetle and we'd make to Bramble Dam, but I will be honest, writing a letter to relocate projects. I think it's just best if you were to find others that work well with you, and well, I'll be honest, Willamoot has been struck not once but twice now by wildfire, and there's no craft bar outpost here. This is obviously up for discussion, and we can clearly keep working together for the near future, but I think it's best if, instead of going on to Bramble Dam, where there are already a great deal of engineers, it's best if I stay here and help with the architecture and the reconstruction of, just basic resources. And, well, I presumed you would have the beetle and so would be going on to Bramble Dam, possibly escorted by your new friends. But with no beetle, and would you want to stay here and work on Willamoot with me?
I think Luxon will be kind of sitting and kind of just gently nodding along with all of this and just kind of taking it in. Again, still juggling all of what has gone on and now this new information as well. I think he'll kind of just say, I mean, it was rather nice getting out and seeing a different place, and, staying in one position has never really been my kind of style, as you put it. Perhaps this is a good idea. We can try. And, I know you're here. And should you ever need a hand, I could be here to help.
So I shall take that as it's not your ideal situation to stay in Willamute then. Which is fine. I understand I'm rather putting forward an ultimatum here. But I just don't have the energy to bounce around with words. You can come or you can go. I'm sure they'll very much appreciate your eccentric ideas at Brambledam. But they need farms. They need city planning, and these are things that I can offer.
Yes, these are not so much my forte, I don't think. You are very excellent at doing those kinds of things.
There's a bit of an awkward pause where she isn't saying anything, but she is looking at you.
I think
she has a little pause in her lap. And she's quite calm. She's not trembling or anxiously twitching her foot. She's always been quite composed, but she has she's just looking at you.
I think Lutzen he's kind of visibly distracted, and I think he will just kind of lock eyes with her and kind of just say, Grimble, I think there's something I need to admit. I think it wasn't lightning that struck twice per se. I think it was me that set the fire.
So she kind of speaks over you as you say it. And she says, well, no, I don't actually think it was lightning. I think the most likely source of fire either was the beetle itself and I think it was the squirrel you said, or alternatively, it may have been some campers had not successfully extinguished a fire. It could be any number of reasons. It's been extremely dry weather. It could have been anything.
I think you'd still press on and just say,
hear you say that it was, I think it was me. And she says it over you very purposefully. Mm-hmm. And she hasn't broken eye contact.
Okay, she knows. Yeah.
See, I've deduced there could be any number of reasons, especially... It could have been anything. So I think it's best we focus on the future rather than dwell in the past of what could have happened.
Yes. You've been an excellent partner, Grimble. No one can say otherwise. You're very dedicated to your craft and to the craft pulsar. We are lucky to have you. But I agree. I think Willamute is not so much my place anymore.
Well, I'm glad that we are in agreement, and I do think that there are some fantastic projects you could be working on in the future. I think it's best if we were just to square away some paperwork, officially ending my assistant role with you, and then we can go out to our own projects and work on some interesting things in the future.
That sounds good.
Fantastic. And she sort of squares her shoulders a little bit and then kind of looks around at the whole of the bent branch and says, well, this is a mess.
I think he'll just kind of glance around and be like, and just kind of shake his head like there's nothing wrong.
Yeah. So what would Lutzen like to do now? You could continue talking. We could kind of skip ahead.
I think that's kind of a nice little close for that bit, and probably skip ahead into the next day. Yeah. Go back to rest and get some chill time.
Before you both go back up to the room, and she digs out of her own chest. Balthazar and Pipistrel are still sound asleep. Digs out of her own chest dried ginger root, and says, I think I might just get up on some work. I'm just going to push through today and then go to sleep tomorrow. Or this evening, not to disrupt my rhythm. There's some paperwork I've been preparing to end my journeyman role with you. That if you could just sign would be great. And she kind of goes over to him and goes, "Oh, I messed this one up," and sort of starts drafting a new document, and that sort of thing. And I'm going to assume that you sign all of that, and then you're able to sort of like get some shut eye, and you wake up at the sort of same sort of, we'll say like 3-4 in the afternoon with Pipistrel and Balthazar, who sort of like Balthazar's got a very even croaking rhythm, and then goes, "Rah, rah."
Yeah. It kind of starts awake, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, toad croaks are more like little squeaks. So his snoring is probably like.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Because they make these little squeaky noises. They don't make croaks like frogs. It's so cute.
Higher
I think it's
pitch.
like a squeaky toy. Then it's like.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And it goes, the octave, just the shift, the pitch goes way down.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea that like Pip, while she's sleeping, she makes the mouth movements as if she's snoring, but she's a bat, so no one can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like there's just like a little mute icon.
Yeah. Yeah, she's the epitome. She's the living embodiment of the mute icon.
I love that.
So I just thought that was a really funny visual. Like she also kind of like she wakes up and she kind of opens her eyes blearily and she yawns and also doesn't make any noise, and then she she starts speaking in a pitch that people can hear her.
Oh my god. That's too good. That's too good. Yeah, you lower an octave. You start off higher, but no one can hear it.
Oh, I like the idea that like when bats yawn, only other bats can hear it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they can hear each other snoring as well. It's just all the other creatures or the other beasts can't hear
They're on
the
their own
snores or the
wavelength.
yawns. Yeah.
Wavelength. That's pretty good.
Supersonic screeching or
Bat-like
sonic snoring. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but Pip would like sort of unfurl herself as well, sort of stretch her wings out, which would look kind of hilarious because they're so big.
Oh my god, yeah. Probably touch both walls, like.
She would just like stretch out and you like have these ridiculously long arms and wings.
Make a vigor check for me.
Ooh.
Would rats get cramp? Not rats, sorry, bats even get cramp with their arms being kind of tucked up most of the time.
If it's in the right way, I would say no. In the same way that like you can get cramp if you as a human sleep in a weird position, but if you sleep in the correct position with the right bedding, then you're fine. So yeah.
Sorry, I'm making a vigor check.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
So you stretch your wings out, and you feel that slight twinge. You're like, but you did extend your wing all the way.
Okay.
Like you catch yourself too late. Like you get to the twinge, you're like, oh ow, and then you jerk your wing back. And you go, wait a minute, that wasn't as painful as it normally is. And you stretch your wing out, and there's still a twinge in your what was broken wing, but you're like, I can extend it.
It is healing then. It is okay. Good.
You also realise there's no bandaging on it.
No.
And the break in the skin is now instead kind of pink soft tissue.
Ooh, I think she'd look down
as opposed to open, scabby, bloody that it has been.
She would sort of prod it. She'd sort of prod it lightly, like to see like, oh, this is actual skin again. This isn't just like an open wound. She would like ears up, eyes bright, sort of like, oh, hooray! Like wing is on the mend. She'd be starting the day in a happy mood, knowing that her wing is getting better.
Oh no, a coal accelerated rig.
Oh no! Run!
They're back! Yes, so what would the crew like to do?
Well, I think Balthazar would say, first thing first,
I'm the
we need to get some food. But he'd like to talk over breakfast. He'd invite Lutzen for breakfast, and he'd also say good morning to Grimble if she's still in the room writing documents.
I would say it's the afternoon. So Grimble is not in the room.
Oh, okay.
We'll probably be coming back for dinner soon.
She's had a late lunch and she's come back to do an afternoon's worth of work.
Yeah. Yeah, we can go get some brunch, baby.
Yeah, we're getting a very, very late brunch.
Yeah.
I would say, though, that Balthazar and Professor, you can tell that Grimble has been in the room since you fell asleep, because there is a clean patch of floor leading up to one of the desks, which is now also clean.
Clean patch.
And organised.
I think as they're kind of like moving downstairs towards like the common room to go and get food, I think sort of Pip would sort of walking alongside Ludson would say, "So you saw Grimble last night or this morning?"
Yes, Grimble came by, and you two were sound asleep, but yes, and I think me and Grimble we've come to a decision that Grimble is going to stay here, and I feel like I'm going to move on. I feel like there's more of the world to explore, and you two have shown me a great deal of things in such a short time, but I think I want to explore some. You guys have inspired me.
Oh, Pip would be she'd be very touched by that, and she'd say, "Oh well, Ludson, that's wonderful. I mean, I suppose sad that you and Grimble will be going your separate ways, but if we've given you a taste for adventure, you may as well explore it if you can."
Yes, I would agree.
That's really sweet, though.
I think this is a good opportunity
Hmm.
to do a quick... I think it's going to be a short one, but a quick scene.
Ooh.
Oh.
So, scenes are part of the Vice and Virtue system that is coming to Kickstarter soon. And at the beginning of a scene, I read you guys 3 fortunes. You pick the most interesting fortune, and then we'll use that to progress and shape the coming scene. So, I'm going to roll 3d7, because I don't have the deck in front of me. I rolled 2d7, but whatever. And then I'm going to roll 1d7. I said, roll it. It's gonna do it. It's gonna do it.
It's thinking.
Okay. Your fortunes are sense and sensibility,
Ooh,
incense
my
and
favourite
wine,
Ooh.
and tools and tricks.
Ooh.
Can you write them down for us?
Yeah.
The tools and tricks is the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Watson likes the sound of that.
So your 3 fortunes to choose from are sense and sensibility, incense and wine, and tools and tricks. Just have a quick chat about which one sounds most interesting.
Well, I've played my card.
Mm-hmm.
I feel mine's fairly obvious which one Watson would like to go for.
That is totally fair. I have
But
to
I'm
admit,
open to them all.
I have to admit that the intriguing notion of incense and wine.
I have a
Yeah.
similar feeling of like, because incense and wine sounds very hoity-toity. Like this is what the Ritz would have.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I like the idea. I don't know obviously what that means in terms of what Brian has prepared, but I'm thinking my thoughts are some kind of noble hoity-toity creatures, and then our 3 doofuses just rolling out, ready
I
to
do
cause
like that one.
problems on purpose.
Yep.
Because I know that when Brian and I have talked beast building stuff, like we kind of, there aren't necessarily like nobles, like aristocracy, but like
Yeah.
but like the guild chapter leaders and things like that, like they would kind of be like leaders of things who would have maybe
Yeah.
slightly finer stuff because they are able
Yeah, it's like rich merchants.
yeah, basically. And I like, so it would be kind of funny if we got invited or somehow stumbled into the path of as a notable merchant or a leader of a city.
Maybe it's like a mercenary opportunity. Like, oh, we're going to Oak. Why don't you guard our wine and incense thingamajig, and we can get into some shenanigans.
Ooh,
Yeah, I like it.
yeah.
To be fair,
Wine
that
and
was my second
incense thingamajig. That makes you think that they've just got a vending machine that's just wine, bottles of wine, and sticks of incense.
one. Oh my god.
It's a very intriguing. There's something about like, because like, you know, this is still kind of ancient Scotland, so like incense would be something that would be probably like imported with the summer like arrival of like the swallows.
What is it, the summer wings? No, what are
Yeah,
they called?
wine.
Exactly. And like, wine is something like you don't grow grapes naturally in the UK. They would have to you'd have to kind of get grapes imported and then start making a vineyard somewhere. And also, this is Scotland; it's cold. There's a reason we don't have Scottish wine.
A week. Yeah.
Exactly. So like,
No, I do like that one.
I'm really I put my little bat paw down on incense and wine. I'm very intrigued by that.
I put my toad paw down on incense and wine as well. I'm sorry, Fraser, because you were.
No, that's okay.
Or, sorry, Fraser.
No.
I keep saying the wrong one.
That's all right. No, I know. I agree. When Brian was kind of reading them out initially, like incense and wine even took my fancy as well. But as soon as it was like tools and tricks, ho ho,
Me.
but it's me. But no, I think incense and wine is a very interesting one because it is like, how does that fit into a world of tiny beasts? So I think that's I place my crimped tail on incense and wine.
Oh.
You put 2 of your burnt off whiskers on incense and wine.
Actually, I guess it would be the bat like giant wing paw. Actually Balthazar can like mlem like with his tongue, like put his tongue on the thing, and then the bent rat tail.
Yep. Perfect.
I love it.
So, as you enter into the common room, you see that it is much busier. Every single table is filled. Many animals are standing around tables as well. They are still broken into groups, but some of those groups have merged into larger conversations. Some seem to be families, some seem to be a collection of beasts that are united by some kind of organizational purpose. They seem all to be talking about stuff. There's a hubbub in the air. The bar itself is also quite busy as well. The hedgehog that you had seen working there before, when you very first arrived at the Bent Branch, is serving drinks and food.
Interesting.
Oh, there was a food shortage though.
Yeah.
Wonder what changed. Well, Balthazar's gonna happily go up to get some food, whether order or just get it there. Or he'll inquire, like, good morning. Good afternoon, I suppose. By what means could we acquire some fine dining in this fine establishment?
This eatery.
You kind of wait for a gap to kind of catch Perry, the hedgehog's attention. And Perry looks down at you and goes, "Oh, hello there. You are looking much better than you were last night, I'll be honest. Could you repeat the question? Sorry."
Well, I see that you're able to serve food today. I remember that the previous day there was some problem with that, and I'm glad that things seem to be turning for the better despite the disaster that befell the area in the last night.
This isn't me. Well, it is me. I'm the one. Well, we've got barley out back cooking it, but you'll have the and this is Brian just blanking on the name. He had it
Legion.
in his head.
Tusk Legion.
No.
The
Seed Spout Bank to thank for this. They had a representative passing through and said they'll reimburse 2 days worth of cooking. So we're using currently the last of our winter stores, but they'll be updating the bank's deposits here. It's a relief, so to speak. Just be able to feed everyone and make sure that people can get a bit of food before they get back on their feet and try and rebuild again. Yeah.
I think Lutson's ears kind of dampen a little bit.
Oh no.
Just a little bit. Very slightly twitch.
Too bad for him.
Well, the folk here seem not only good of heart, but also quite sturdy and resilient. I'm sure that Willowmoot will be back on its feet in no time.
Well, I would hope so. Can I get you guys a nut porridge, or are you looking for someone else today?
Wait, sorry, what did she
Well,
ask?
you did
Can
ask
I get
food.
You porridge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you asked food. Sorry, this is Brian running out of coffee as well.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, he Balthazar will order 3 bowls of porridge for all 3 of us, and he, like, when we get back to the table, he's gonna break out his slug jam because it's gonna make it even better.
Mm-hmm.
So, Perry says, "Oh, just you hang on, just one moment." And she kind of goes to the other end of the bar, and I'm gonna lean away from the mic, do this. She goes, "Oi, you, move!" And she kind of points at 2 squirrels, and a pine marten that are kind of around a table, and they look over at her, kind of like yelling at them, and she gives them this gesture of the hand. They go, "Ooh," and they kind of shudder away. She goes, "There's a table right over there for you, dearies."
I love her. I love them.
He just kind of looks at her and, like, just visibly gulps and say, well, we won't overstay our welcome. Thank you for your hospitality.
That's for helping out my friend Henny last night. Oh, and all her little sprogs. You go and we'll bring the food right over. And she kind of turns away to help someone else.
His eyes kind of light up when he realizes she's talking about the baby hares and their mom.
Little babies.
And he's gonna, lead everyone to the table. I think he's just kind of gonna bring up, like, well, those little kids that we helped the other day. Apparently they're friends with the proprietor, and that's how we have found ourselves with a fine table tonight, or this afternoon. Oh, tonight soon, I suppose, if we eat for too long.
I think Pip would sort of look over to, like, the bar and, like, all the hustle and bustle, and, like, I imagine there's probably, like, a lot of tired-looking faces, but hopefully this is a sort of slightly more, not jovial, but at least people seem to be kind of happy to have, like, food and somewhere to sit and somewhere to talk with people.
It's
and,
definitely
like,
more animated.
A sort of like there's a.
Oh, hang on! I will be back in just a moment.
Oh. Mysterious DM disappearance quickly.
Quick, what do we say? Anarchy!
Quick, restore all of our dice. I'm gonna give myself a D12 on every characteristic.
I'm giving Pip a sword.
Oh my God.
A big sword. 2 swords, but one for each wing.
Balthazar is now 5 feet tall.
Oh my God.
He's one of those, like, prehistoric amphibians that were.
Oh my God! Like one of the giant.
Big. Yeah, like those giant salamanders.
Pip
What does
is
that
now.
make? If we were all
Pip
to
is
be
now
like
a fruit bat
dinosaurs.
sized.
Oh, if we were all to be like
Oh,
dinosaurs equivalents, what would that be for like a rat?
Oh, you'd be one of those ancient, just like those huge. Oh, what are they called?
What, like a woolly mammoth?
No. I totally forgot the group. Oh, rodents. There we go. Because rodents were a very prolific group that kind of most mammals sort of sprung from. So you could just be any crazy megafauna
true.
rodent you want.
Oh my God! Just a giant like 6 foot. Oh God, oh man, that gives me the fear. Anyway.
Sorry about that.
We descended into anarchy while you're away.
I thought that was going to be the parcel that I have coming at 5, arriving at 4 really early, but it wasn't. Instead, it was the guy above me. Parcels, yay. So, stuff happens. As you're discussing what kind of rat Lutzen could be, over comes a kind of a dumpy-looking hedgehog. Looks quite similar sort of like fur to Perry, but one very pronounced tooth sticking out of their face. Comes over with like 2 bowls of porridge in one arm and a third in the other, and goes over and kind of slides them onto the table, which is roughly the right sort of size for you. If a little higher than it would be comfortable, and bends over to you guys and says, "Oh yeah, courtesy of the Seed Sprout Bank," and kind of gives you a little bow.
Aw.
Oh, that's cute.
Pip would thank him, and she just, like, but eyes like snap to porridge because she is hungry.
And you're looking at the porridge, and it is thick, gloopy oat base, but it is covered with seeds and chopped up fried acorns.
Ooh, delicious.
Well, let's top it off with some jam, shall we? And then he's gonna dole out the jam for whoever wants it. Obviously, if someone doesn't, he's not gonna force
Watson's
them
gonna
to.
raise an eyebrow. It's like, what the hell? Is it? Well, I don't know. Is slug jam a common thing?
It's a very
It's a toad delicacy.
Okay, yeah, he will
So
definitely
no,
raise an
it
eyebrow.
is very much. You would have never heard of slug jam.
Okay.
Because they have, because they cultivate blueberries, but also all toads like farm. They have like farms of slugs. Very easy to take. They're like very easy to corral.
Yeah. Oh my god. I just thought of this situation where like, the slugs are loose, and then people are like, oh no, and then like 2 hours later they decide to actually get up and deal with it because it couldn't have gone far.
Yeah. But I imagine it's like, it's like to us it's gross because it's made of slugs, but it's mixed with blueberries, so it's basically like a blueberry jam that just has like protein in it as far as
That's
the base
fair.
is concerned.
Fair enough.
And I imagine it's sweet.
I think Pip
Yeah.
would be like, because she's been around Balthazar long enough now that like he's talked a lot about slug jam. She's like, yeah, I would like to try some. We don't have.
We've
this."
had it. We've had
Have
it
we?
before when Grimble made porridge for us. I
Oh my God, of course we did.
I also offered it up.
Oh my gosh! Well, then she would definitely be like, I think she really enjoyed it, so she would definitely like to try some more.
Wilson's gonna kind of do the little sniffy thing with a kind of furrowed brow and like, ooh, and then kind of like dunk a little like finger in, and just kind of try it, very like tentatively.
It's sort of like the sweet and salty sensation of popcorn, but it doesn't taste like popcorn, but that sort of combination of sweet.
It's umami.
Yeah, it's very umami with like a salty
sauce
base.
jam.
It's more like a chutney, in
Okay.
actual taste than a jam.
Okay, I feel like he would just kind of get like a little grin would spread across his face, and he'd be like, if you wouldn't mind.
Of course, treat yourself to it. And
I'll take a little
he
swap
has
and-
he has a little wooden spoon for it too.
That's really cute. 100%.
Wait, what if it was a tiny silver spoon?
Ooh.
And it's actually
Ish.
like a little trinket valuable wise.
Sure, yeah. Little silver.
That like
Specifically-
enhances the
Blow
jam.
with it in my mouth.
It's specifically made for slug jam. Like it's like a
There's a slug
It's
on
like
the
a
end.
ceremony. It's like a ceremony thing. You know
Yeah.
how you have like dedicated teacups for tea or something?
or
in
like
certain
the honey
cultures.
wand.
Oh my
thing.
god, do you want to make it
Yeah,
more
yeah.
emotional?
Mm.
It's
Uh-oh.
all squires are given a ceremonial slug spoon by their knight when they graduate. It's your graduation slug jam spoon.
Oh no!
That's really cute.
Because I did say that I got my little
Icky lucky.
Icky Lucky for my graduation, but maybe that was a separate gift.
That was a.
Yeah.
that
And
was
the
a-
official one is the slug spoon.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the official
That was
slug
an
spoon. You
extra
you get all sorts of gifts when you graduate.
Yeah.
I love the idea that like Lavinia gave you like the ceremonial spoon, like here, my beautiful squire, you get here's the thing I have to give you, and then like, and then with the other hand, like she pulls from behind her back, she gives you Icky Lucky as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's cute.
Oh
Yeah,
my
so
heart.
he gives you all the very special slug spoon, silver slug spoon, to put on some slug jam onto your porridge.
Yum.
Delicious.
We're talking about slug jam, and I'm like, oh guys, it sounds so good.
But, oh.
And I think as we're eating, Balthazar will kind of pick up what Lutzen was saying, how he wants to explore, and how he was inspired by the shenanigans. And he'll say, well, so what do you think is in store for you, Lutzen? Because I'm just thinking if you're seeking inspiration, the tales that Pipistrel has told me about Odok sound like there is quite a not only quite a bit of mechanical marvels there, but but also just a beautiful sight to behold. Perhaps they could be a fine inspiration for a creative engineering mind such as your own.
Remind me, Brian, because Fraser is an idiot. Is that where we were going to be moving? What were the places we were meant to be moving to again after when we got the beetle?
So when you got the beetle, you're meant to be going to Bramble Dam. I'm going to pop it up on the map so you can see.
Which is where we came from.
Yeah, it's where this whole adventure first started.
Yes, I was like, they all sound familiar, but I'm like, which one's which?
Yeah, and you were currently at Willow Moot, which is a third of the way to Odoak.
Okay, and we're on the way to Odoak. Okay, got it. Yes, okay. Have I been to Odoak before?
Have you?
This is like this is like ping pong,
like you can decide if you have or you haven't.
I this is me just like blundering, because I'm like, I don't know how much you have said about Lutzen before, of like, has he always been in?
So I've not said much about Lutzen because I was going to like develop him when they met him, but now they've met him, you are him, so it's up to you. This is your character now.
Well, okay, so you said that there was no craft paw place. Where would the nearest one be? Would that be Bramble Dam?
Bramble Dam would be the closest, but Odoak definitely has a craft paw. It's one of the larger craft paw chapter houses. Okay. There's also a chapter house at Fort Ard and a chapter house at Fangwatch, and they are here and here. Okay. And further to the east, there are other toad logs and kind of like relevant cities that are quite close to each other. Blueberry Pond, which is up here, is actually an anomaly in that it's actually really quite far away from society. But there are other toad logs like Bramble Log over here to the east, which are off the map that you currently have. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm just trying to figure out where he has been, like where he could have been from. I feel like he's probably more familiar with Bramble Dam if we were kind of traveling out and then back. That's my kind of headcanon. Okay. My idea, the only, not to go against that, but the only idea I had was that he's never been to Bramble Dam because he's traveling to Bramble Dam with the beetle. Okay. Yeah. No. Of course. Yeah. I'm getting myself. Yeah, I'd say it would make sense for you to have been to Odoak. You could also say you've never been to Odoak if you wanted to as well. Probably in passing. I don't know where he would have been from originally to have trained as a craft paw. Yeah, he's probably not been to Odoak, but yeah. Either way, thank you for filling me in on that. Yeah. I think he was yes, that sounds like a fantastic idea. I've heard many stories of Odoak, and it does feel like a very grand place to be.
Pip would sort of nod, kind of mouthful of porridge, and sort of cheeks full. But she would look at Ludson and smile and shake her head in agreement.
Yes, I feel.
To actually reply.
Yeah. Yes, I feel that seeing more of the world may inspire more opportunities and creations and chances for things to happen, and it's all just very exciting.
What? You made that fine iron beetle. I'm sure there's many wonderful other things you could make, what if you made an iron toad knight?
Oh.
Is this turning into Gundam?
I was gonna say, this is turning into is it Voltron or the
I was
just
thinking
giant mechs, Pacific Rim toad.
Well, the mech should be then the big animals, like an iron wolf.
Oh my god.
It's piloted from the inside. And
was this just Power Rangers?
I love it. This little Scottish beast adventure.
Iron Man.
Tiny animals,
it's
big
mecha.
woods. Also, destructive coal-powered mechas.
Oh my god.
Let's go.
Gonna make it happen, Brian. Watch this damn space. This is what you've done by letting me in. You've allowed this. Yeah, that sounds good. Yes, you can respond back to Balsam oh yes, the options are limitless, really.
I think sort of Pip, swallowing a mouthful of porridge, would sort of return to Ludson and say, he's well, Balthazar and I are heading back to Odok because I need to go back to my chapter house for the Moon Messengers Guild and, remind them that I'm still alive, I suppose. And she sort of giggle and wipe some porridge off her mouth.
Lonesome will look concerned.
she was sort of pressing her. She's like, but I know there are many guilds in Odok. There are so many. I don't even think I could remember all of them. But I know that I'm sure there's a large chapter house for the craft paws in Odok. But equally, just the city itself is such a marvel. The bridges suspended between the canopies of the trees, the lifts that take us up to the higher levels of the city, even just the badger forges. Not that we're allowed down there very often, but when the badgers do let us down there, what a marvel to see how they've preserved the earth around them and kept these fires going without ever causing any damage to the tree.
I feel like you see Lutson's eyes kind of like light up and sparkle, and like just rehearing the tales that he has heard before, or just like words in passing, but like from a first-hand perspective, just like he just kind of he's beaming, he's just kind of lighting up, like it's amazing.
Baby.
Well,
They wag their tails. His tail's wagging.
I might say there is only one prerequisite with Odok. We have, because Pipistrel said that we have missed the summer equinox, the summer solstice celebrations, and we have decided that when we get to Odok, we will have a dance of our own. So, if you're joining us, you are signing up for some performance.
Absolutely.
Oh, I would love to join in. Dancing is not something I usually partake, but I do miss it ever so much.
Balthazar just once again nods approvingly, like, this is a good egg.
I like this one. I think Pip, as they're eating, she would kind of tell Ludson more about Odok, about because Odok isn't just it isn't just one huge oak tree. It's it's sort of a copse of oak trees, all kind of interconnected with bridges and pathways. And, the big square in the middle where they have their festivals, their markets, city meetings, that kind of thing. She would kind of describe her parents' clothes shop, kind of halfway up one of the trees, where she kind of grew up, and she's sort of telling everybody all these stories of Odok as she's still shoveling porridge into her mouth. So with all the elegance that a bat could muster when with jam and porridge all over her face.
Oh, I love that. I feel like Watson's listening intently and kind of when you take a spoonful of something and it just falls off quite the spoon.
Yeah.
It's just mouth agape, just so you're talking about the badger forges and all these amazing structures and contraptions, and all this. He's just wow. A couple times his mouthful just falls out of his mouth, or off the spoon.
That's so cute. That's such a good visual.
Balthazar will say, do tell Lutson though, this iron beetle that was taken by that scoundrel of a squirrel. Are you fine leaving that just waylaid, unattended? Given what happened last night with the fires and seeing how she was out for blood, I worry of somebody having such a contraption in their paws and what they could do with it. Do you reckon that is something that we should maybe also look into or keep an ear out for as we travel?
I think that would be a good idea. I think keeping an ear out for it is definitely something to do. But the thing with the beetle is, it's sort of, I'm not entirely sure how I made it. I'm not sure if I could recreate it, let alone, I could fix it, but I think only I could fix it. It does tend to be a kind of recurring pattern with the things that I create. And I think he'll kind of start kind of recalling just how the beetle works and what he'd done to it, and kind of explaining that and kind of damaging it, that it's unlikely to make it very far without some more maintenance. And I'd be very surprised if that squirrel could steal it and repair it at the same time. But keeping an ear out is definitely.
She did seem to. she did seem to get quite a handle of operating it. By the end there, she even got it to move away. It was quite intimidating. And, actually, that reminds me, there's that little songbird that she left behind, one of her friends. Suppose not, maybe somebody she doesn't consider a friend if she just let them stay behind. Do any of you remember what happened of them? I know I brought them back to Willowmoot, but I suppose in the haze of things, one of the rescuers must have grabbed them off of me. Because I suppose if there's anything we'd like to find out, they would probably be a good source of some information.
That is a good point.
Yeah, let's more kind of mull this over. Watson didn't see them, so like he wouldn't know being kind of carried off. So we could inquire, but I mean, I guess Watson. Oh, sorry, continue.
No, I was going to say, Brian, do you think either like Pip or Balthazar or Ludson, like, would they have noticed that there would like a field hospital has been like set up to deal with people who'd been like burnt and stuff in the fire?
You haven't been outside, so no.
No, not yet. Okay.
Well, someone took this songbird off my hands, so I presume maybe some medical parties were present. I hope so, otherwise I'd be very worried for them if just some random beast took them. They were still unconscious.
That is a good point. I'm sure that that bird is around here somewhere, and hopefully is all right.
Yes, there would be a couple of places we could inquire just to check in on them for sure. So I saw Lutson had seen the field hospital, but just hadn't clocked the cold hit, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I think Lutson would kind of say, like, yes, you are correct. Like in times of need, with the last wildfire that we had to encounter and deal with in where are we again? I'm so bad with place names. Willowmoot. Yes, we did set up a field hospital, and it's relatively close by, so we can always go by and check and see.
Well, I hope that for everything that birds did, I do hope that they're still okay. It was quite a close call.
It certainly was.
And Balthazar's gonna finish up his breakfast and be ready to go out and just see what's happening.
Same with Pip, I think.
Yes, agreed.
So you finish up all of your food, and quickly a group of other beasts come over as you're kind of looking like you're about to leave, and they very passive-aggressively hover nearby to snatch the table the minute you get up.
Oh my god.
And as like the last of you are standing up, we'll say Lutson is standing up, like a little a frog comes over, young and spry, and goes, "Oh, I'll get those plates for you," and just sort of and then runs over, and then like another frog takes a seat out from under you, goes, "Oh, of course, let me get out of the way for you," and then some others start sitting down at the table as you're leaving. Clearly, they've been waiting for a space for a while.
Oh man, Brian, this is really living my day job. Like, please, can we not? It's far too real. Diving back into the escapism.
Oh god, we've all been there. And as you leave the very busy hostel, you step outside, and I'm going to say, because Balthazar, you said you were leaving first. Balthazar, you leave first, and you notice there's a sleepy-looking hare across the street looking at the front of the building, who kind of realizes they're looking at you, and you recognize the hare as one of the little hares you helped yesterday. And then it stands up, and at the top of its lungs, it just yells, "Apple!" And then a little ways away, you hear another little hare voice go, "Bah!" And then further away, "Bam!" And then further away from that, "Pod!" And then there's a pause as the little hare just kind of awkwardly stands there, looking at you.
Yeah, Balthazar's like looking at them. He's just standing there looking at the little hare.
Standoff.
Yeah, but then he's gonna look both ways across the road or whatever we're on. And because I think there's just some, because he's like, oh, it's the little hare, and then it starts yelling, and he's just like, what is happening? But seeing that there's no, I don't know, like immediate, danger or anything.
Yeah.
He's gonna like smile and walk up and say, "Ah, you're one of those little hare siblings that we had encountered the other night. Are you well? I believe you've been reunited with your mom, haven't you?"
My mum says not to talk to strangers, but you helped us yesterday, so are you a stranger?
Well, I'm Balthazar of Blueberry Pond. I'm a knight. I'm no stranger.
My mum didn't say anything about talking to knights, so I guess that's okay.
Oh, child.
I'd say so.
Why are you round?
Oh my god.
Any round creature is a friend. I'm friend-shaped. That's what people tell me.
Oh my god, my heart.
Okay, and the little hare takes this to heart, like very like this is a put in the brain. Okay, got this. Next lesson.
Uh-oh.
That's
Round
cute.
equals friend-shaped.
Okay, I'm quickly thinking if there's any round predators, but no, most of them are like sleek and
Angular.
and angular. Most round things are indeed small and benign. But Balthazar doesn't think this. He's just friend-shaped. Yeah, and he says, "Oh, are you all right? I saw you yelling at the top of your lungs. Is everything all right? You're
I was
alone
just
out
yelling
here.
for
Where's-
Burr, who's meant to yell for Bram, who's meant to yell for Pod, and then Pod will get our mum.
Oh.
He kind of looks
Oh, that's a
around
very-
and he
Very
says,
handy system.
"Yeah. I mean, she should be here." He kind of looks down the street, and then you see in the distance corralling 5 other little hares. The mother. With a bunch of stuff in her arms, and like, come on, go, huddle, mush to these hares.
Balthazar's gonna like extend his hand so this little hare can take his hand, and he's gonna start walking towards the mom so they can meet halfway there.
Oh.
The hare, sees you put your hand out, and then just sort of walks beside you, but doesn't take your hand.
Oh.
Okay.
And he just
that's
goes,
fine.
just looking at your hand like, okay. Doesn't seem to quite grasp the idea of like holding another person's hand.
Doesn't grasp.
He puts his hand out the same way.
Oh.
But it just doesn't grasp
we
it.
hover hands.
Yeah,
and just
like
look
you
at
put your
each
left
other.
hand out, and so he turns and walks beside you, and also has his left hand out as well.
Oh, that's so cute.
And just sort of like striding
well,
to keep up with you, because as a toad to a tiny hare, like you're pretty big.
Well, actually, to be fair, baby hares would probably be about the same size as Balthazar and Pip, because like hares are big.
Hares are big,
Yeah,
but Balthazar
toads are
isn't
small.
miniature. Balthazar is a toad. Toads are pretty big. Bats, you've got volume.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, like Balthazar can fit kind of, on the palm of my hand, and I have a small hand.
Mm.
I think the baby hare. Toads are small. Toads
Yeah.
aren't like bullfrogs.
Wait, okay, we're gonna rewrite this scene then. I like the idea that you put your hand out and the hare is bigger than you, and so actually it looks like the hare is walking you down the street.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, sorry.
Because like
yeah.
Pip and Balthazar are around the same size. Because like long-eared brown bats are quite small. They're not the smallest bat species in the UK, but they are not big animals.
They're smaller than a rat.
They are definitely smaller than a rat. So like Ludson would definitely be like not like significantly taller, but like he would definitely be
I'd say
taller.
I say it would be the equivalent of like a 6 foot tall person next to someone who's like 5'4".
Yeah, something like that.
Like he'd have a hand. Like if this were our measurements, he'd be like a head taller.
Yeah.
No, I guess Pipistrel's ears would probably be up to
Yes.
his head, but
Like-
the tip of her head, and I do like canonically imagine that Balthazar's a little smaller than Pip.
Yeah, I've always like even if you took Pip's ears away, like Balthazar would definitely still be like slightly smaller than Pip.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's still quite a young toad.
Yeah. Like he's gonna grow up to be bigger than Lutzen. Like he's gonna be
he'll
a
be
big old
massive.
chunk.
Oh my god.
But like right now he baby.
Yeah, because they
So-
just keep growing. So.
We've got a scale size here on roll 20.
Perfect. Yes.
Yes.
Of little hair to tiny toad. So you make your way over to the mother, who is significantly larger than all of you.
She'd be massive in comparison.
Yeah.
And she has got in her arms, one of her arms is in the crook of it is a basket, which is full of bits and bobs, covered with a muslin cloth. And you notice you're getting closer, and the other, she has a bundle of things. The head of your warhammer is poking out from that bundle.
Oh, I don't think he even realized he doesn't have it.
Yep, you
I
didn't
didn't
realize
realize
you
he
didn't pick it
doesn't-
up from. I wasn't gonna get rid of it at all, but I think it's fun that he's just sort of in his exhausted state, going up to check on Grimball last night. You just didn't even pick it up.
Yeah, I totally forgot. Yeah.
So you go up, and the mother kind of looks down and goes, "Oh, there you are. I'm so glad that we could find you. Oh, I've had my little babies looking out for you. We looked for you last night after I made sure everyone was safe and found out what happened. You were gone. All we found in the bent branch was your hammer and your banner, but you were gone."
Well, we had simply gone upstairs to try to find. And he kind of looks around. I assume Pipistrel and Lutzen had also exited, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're following
I'd
her.
assume they're with you. It's just that you saw
Okay,
the
yeah,
hair
yeah.
first.
Yeah. So he turns around and says, "Our friend Lutzen, he had a fellow craft paw that we were tasked with bringing him back to, and we went up to try to find her, and then just we were so very tired. I don't think we realized when we all had fallen asleep. It was quite a long day."
Yes, and quite a long night as well. Well, I'm glad we're all safe, and I wanted to express my gratitude for keeping all of my little babies safe. I'm so genuinely thankful. I was here on a little market business, and before I knew it, it was late. I was about to make my way back. I knew they were all safe in the burrow, and then suddenly there was this massive wildfire. It could have been a disaster. And then it looked like it was going to go east, and so I stayed with the defense group and thought that it would be best to prevent the fire from spreading, and then a wind came, and then suddenly it had cut me off from returning to the barrow. And thank you again. To explain, I have been back this morning, and it cut off the main entrance, otherwise they would have left, my little darlings. But if you had not come along and let them out through the winter pantry, then they might have well, I don't want to dwell on it. She has a little smile on her face.
Yeah.
She says,
Oh.
but thank you.
We found ourselves in a wrong place. It seems we found ourselves there at the right time.
Yes, very well. I would say the right place at the right time. It is the best fortune for me that you helped them. And to show my gratitude, the winter pantry will need a little repairing, putting one of the walls back together. But I wanted to give you some things that might not keep now that they are exposed. And she kind of puts down the basket, but it's not the basket she shows you. It's instead, she puts the hammer down. She puts down a blue bundle of cloth, and she takes out a wooden box that is almost the size of Balthazar, and inside the box are several bottles, and made of glass, which isn't a rare material, but is heavy, and also brings out several small clay pots as well. She says, these are ciders that I made in my home, and when we came over, we never quite opened when we moved to the Bristly Woods. And, well, we've been giving them out as tokens of our thanks to people who have most graciously welcomed us into these colder lands. And now I would like to give you the rest to say thank you.
Well, that is a most graceful gesture, but are you sure about this? If your home has indeed been damaged as it has, and I don't know if you find yourself displaced right now with your family, wouldn't these be a...
thankfully, because we have a burrow as opposed to a building, most of the interior is damaged by smoke instead of by fire. And the pantry, it is the collapsed wall that we have to rebuild. Much of the food we have for the winter that we have gathered for our personal family, well, we'll have to make do. But it's not as if we could drink this and it would take us through. It's a luxury rather than a sustenance. Let me explain. This is you don't do much cider here in the north. It is apples fermented, and it makes a sweet, slightly effervescent drink. And it makes you quite merry and warm when drinking it. Catch my drift. And the kids, like, one of the hares is like picking its nose, and they're quite oblivious. Another is poking at a bug. The others is kind of wandered off to kind of poke at a bug.
At this point, have Pippin and Lutzen kind of travelled up are part of this as well? Or?
Yeah, you're part of this. You're definitely part of this. I mean, it'd be kind of funny though having like Pip and Lutzen just watch a child abduct Balthazar's walk off.
I mean, like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think, like, as the hair
back to 2.
I think if the hair is explaining like the cider, like the process, and considering how big this box is, like I imagine that Pip has like her little like her hands on the edge of the box, and she's like peering in at the bottles and you know, like very interestedly, like very like listening to the hair, like very inquisitive, very nosy.
Yeah, Lutzen is definitely listening in on the details of like how it's made, like the fermenting of apples, and it kind of goes off on a train of thought, looking distracted.
Oh, that's so cute.
Balthazar, because she kind of explained that no, she's fine giving this away, and Balthazar, he'd say, well, if you are certain that you are fine with parting with such finely made beverages, who are we to not accept such a gracious gift? Though I am most above all very happy to know that you're reunited with your family, and you and yours and your place of living are safe despite whatever tragedy may have befallen your home and your family.
And she gives you not a rye's the wrong word, but sort of like a happy expression that I don't have the word for. She kind of gives you a nice smile and she says, oh, that is not all. I have also made this. I saw that it was quite damaged, and so I have well, I'm not quite sure what it was before, but I've done a little embellishment. And she kind of picks up the blue bundle, and it's the blueberry banner. She has stitched so it's similar to the sort of size it was before, maybe a little bit longer. It now has sort of a green backing canvas, and vines have been like stitched quite loosely up around the blueberries.
Oh!
So it is not the blueberry banner it once was, but there is a blueberry at the top, and it's covered in green vines now.
Yeah, he looks at it like with just marvel, because toads really love like art and textiles, because they can't usually keep them in their homes because they get moldy and stuff. So seeing something like this, I think he like gasps out loud, and like at first he says, "Oh, wait, my banner! Oh, but these vines! Well, look at that! It's incredible! Did you do this yourself?"
Oh no, this was Bramble, my middle, and she kind of gestures at Bramble, who is now very shyly hiding behind his mum. Oh no, do not be shy. And he kind of turns round, and Bramble is like, no, I don't want to talk to the toad. It's being just like, as a kid, all kids are just awkward.
Yeah. Well, Balthazar just kind of beams at Bramble and says, well, this is absolutely extraordinary. Why, I'm sure if I brought this design back to Blueberry Pond, well, I feel it would be very quickly picked up by everyone else. Quite the trend maker you could be one day.
Like Watson will kind of lean down and speak to the little one and just kind of say, "You have very, very deft paws, and you should keep training. You know, there are many great things you can do with such dexterity. You know, you could be a great crafter one day. The craft paws would be lucky to have you one day."
And the mother joins in with that sort of like parental encouragement they always have of, "Oh, do you hear that? You could be a tailor. It could be very good for you. Keep going with this. I'm going to make sure you do it every night." And the kid's like, "But I just want to poke at bugs." Yeah. And then the mother says, "And finally, I have some scented oils that I would like you to have," and finally picks up the little clay jars and opens one, and it kind of very strong scent of like the almost metallic, when it's super concentrated, that lavender comes out. These are good for putting in your fare. And she kind of pauses and goes, "I do not know how a frog
Toad.
would interact with these, but it smells very nice. Could be good for a hot or a cold bath."
We have very sensitive skin.
Well, and she kind of turns to you, Pepper, and says, "You really enjoy these. They are very, very lovely scents."
Like, Pip would have seen on occasion, like, sort of incense sellers and stuff in Odok. So like she would take the incense from the hair with like reverence. She'd be like,
"No, I would say it's not quite incense. It's essential oil."
Oh, sorry. Sorry. She would.
Yeah, so it's not the rarest of goods.
Any sickness.
Yes, it's a panacea. It could just one drop and all disease cured. No, it's scented oils. Then they are scented floral oils, I will say. We'll keep it nondescript. It's more perfume. These are things that the Fairwinders would bring from the far realms of the southeast. It's not necessarily hugely expensive, but it is a luxury.
Yeah, like, you know, it's more a kind of case like, you know, Pip would have never had anything like this, you know, like, because everything she would have as a messenger would be like very practical. So this kind of luxury, she's like, "Oh gosh, scented oil for fur, lovely!" Like, she'd be really excited by that.
And she hands a couple jars to you, Pipistrel, and to you, Lutzen.
Oh,
well, thank you very much.
Yeah, Pip would say, "Oh, thank you so much. That's very generous."
Let's start dabbing his paw in a little bit and just patting it on his arm, like on both his arms a little bit, just to kind of smell it and try it.
Like on the underside of his wrist, like they, you know, when they spritz you with perfume at the store.
Yeah.
And as you do this, the mother goes, "Not so much, a very small amount. It's concentrated. It's if you use so much, you'll smell of lavender for days." And as you you're dabbing it around, you're like, "Huh," and the smell of lavender is very strong around you guys now.
Rats have got a very strong or good nose as well, so you'd probably be like,
Yeah.
You are overwhelmed by calm.
I'm so zen right now.
The anxiety just washes off.
Melts off. I think let somebody bring up the mother mentions about the kind of destroyed wall. And we'll kind of just say, like, I heard you mention about the wall in your home. I'm very terribly sorry. That was myself in order to get the kids out.
No. Do not worry. You did what was necessary. That was very brave of you. Thank you.
Can I offer some sort of assistance and help repairs, or please, there must be something else I can do for you.
No, you have done enough. My partner Berry, they are working on the wall as we speak. They were with me in the market, and then so I'm with the little ones today, and they are back at the barrow. No, do not worry. It is enough. We won't take any more of your time, will we? And she kind of looks around and is like keeping an eye on all of the 7 now hares that is sort of about causing or trying to cause like ruckus, and she's very throughout the conversation being very quietly like stepping to the side and then steering one back towards the fold and keeping an eye on all of these different kids.
I love it. Well, thank you very much for your kind gifts.
Yes, thank you.
Indeed, most gracious of you.
And she gives a little bow and says, "No, thank you. Anyway, I shall be about the errands that I could not do yesterday, and I wish you the best." And kind of starts to, unless you would like to say anything else, starts to kind of walk off with the kids.
Just likewise. Just...
I think Pip would bow and sort of wave them off.
Yeah.
Yeah, Balthazar will give a big wave. And then look at the case and just be like, "This is very big."
Oh, don't you worry, Balthazar. I have plenty of room in my pack. And he'll just kind of shuffle it about a little bit and just like find a place for it in his pack.
Actually, I suppose this is as a little world building thing. Would the hare have kind of decanted the cider into like smaller bottles, for tiny, well, not tiny beasts, but small beasts?
So she would not have, because it's brewing, so you can't decant a brewed thing. Like you couldn't like undo a beer and then pour it into another container and then close that for an effective seal. It would go off. So she has just left you with these massive bottles, that are for you quite big.
Yes.
I would say they each bottle, there are 6 of them, takes up 1 of your carried item slots.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
6? I can carry. Wait. I could carry 5.
Oh my, Balthazar.
I'm a
You're
strong
carrying
boy.
anything?
No, I am. I have armor, reduced map of forest, and broken gear. Oh yeah, I can give that back to you. I don't need that. So as we're looking for okay, let's divvy these up. Balthazar will take out this broken gear that he had collected, that he had licked and made his mouth full of oil. And he does like this kind. He scrunches up his face because he remembers that taste. But he picks up the broken gear and says, "Oh, I picked this up when we were trying to track the car. Would you like it back?"
Oh. He'll kind of pick it up and look at it, and if it's still like intact, he'll like, "I'm sure this will come in handy somewhere," and kind of slot it back in his pack.
So if I take out, well, it says it's broken, but I don't know how. But if I take out the broken gear, I could carry all bottles.
Oh my god.
Gosh. You could take 1 extra if you wanted space for one thing.
Bottle of... yeah, sure. So you'll take 1. I'm just gonna add these individually, so I see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, because there's 6 of them. Okay. Oh yeah, sorry, you're taking the last one. Oops. Okay, there we are.
Kill.
So he now, on top of his armor, has an additional armor of bottle glasses, I guess.
Just
Glass
sloshing about.
bottles, Jesus.
Amazing.
Your knapsack has turned into sort of more like a messenger bag, the way you've had to kind of retie it. And it's just sort of like hanging close to your back, and there's all like a clonk of like these bottles inside.
I love it.
Well,
Sloshing and clanking.
everyone will know that I'm coming towards them now.
No threat shall see us. Or every threat shall see us. I don't know. No threat shall... I don't know. Words.
Threats will happen to me because I'm full of glass.
Oh dear.
God, I can't wait to roll complications and just one by one these goddamn bottles are gonna start breaking.
Shattering everywhere.
We have to start drinking them now.
Yeah.
Like, are we just gonna get day drunk?
Oh god.
Wait, how big are they, like, scale-wise? Because, like...
they fit into your hand. That's the definition of a carried item, is it fits into the side, like, 1 or 2 hands.
So it would be like a big bottle of wine. Like, for us human.
It's like the size of a bottle of wine for you guys.
Okay, or I was thinking like the 2-liter bottles of like Coke or I don't know.
I mean, if for a hair, because ciders are in kind of well, I remember ciders from Eastern Europe, so they're usually put in like smaller bottles because you usually make them on your own at home. So I imagine it would be like a small bottle for a hair, but yeah, it would be like a glass 2-liter bottle of Coke for us.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah. Okay.
So I think we're gonna wrap up there. Before we end, one thing. What are you guys gonna do next?
Gosh.
Well, we were kind of on our way
Well,
to find a cultist.
Yeah, Crier.
Crier.
Because the Lutzen said that there's a field hospital.
Mm-hmm.
After Balthazar was like, well, I wonder what happened to that bird. So presumably maybe we can find Crier just to find out, like, you know, was Chipper ever talking about world domination with mechs?
Yeah, we need to know now.
Yep. What's their MO? What's their motivation?
I think.
Or even just telling them, like, hi, you know, oh, I'm glad that you're awake because they just left you in the flames. Haha, lol, your friends suck.
Oh yeah, true actually.
Because they totally left them. Like,
Yeah, they
like
totally
that
did
bird was like, they didn't even, you know, we didn't hear like a no, go back for Crier. It's just like, well, Crier's dead. Too bad.
Yeah, off we go.
Yeah, I would like. I think it'd be interesting to see like what maybe what Crier knows, and then because I think next time if we find out what Crier knows, that might then make a decision of whether or not we kind of carry on towards Odok, or if we make the decision to go after Chipper and the other two in the beetle. Because maybe like, because why? Who has sent them to steal a mechanical beetle, and like how did they find out about it?
Yeah, how do they know?
Yeah, like what is the motivation behind that? I am curious.
What if it was like a double agent kind of thing, and Grimble's really trying to steal it?
Evil.
And they hired all of us.
We'll have to
It's all
find out.
double cross.
It's a double cross, so it's going back to a regular cross.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I am quite interested because if there's nothing there, then we can then be like, okay, let's go. But there could be some seed of intrigue and
that is true.
And yeah, interesting.
And as for reflection, that was a cute little scene. I don't think we need to reflect, or there's been significant character development there. So we're just going to keep our previous neutral, vice, and virtuous aboons.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that was a cute little episode to kind of take the heat down, so to speak.
Like a 12,000 to like a something else. A 6. Feels like a 6.
Yeah.
So, thank you everyone for joining us for Chapter 10. Can't believe we got to 10 episodes of Beast Fables. This is the 16th episode that we've done as a whole series, and this is the 10th episode of Balthazar and Pipistrel's story. This is some really cool stuff.
Now the story of Balthazar, Pipistrel, and Lutzen.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like a group name? Beast Pals. Furry Friends
Nerdy.
and Balthazar.
Furry Friends and Toad?
Oh gosh.
Watch the wind on the... No.
No.
Wind
No. God. We'll have to think of a little team name for our motley crew of a rat, a bat, and a toad. There's a joke.
I mean that rats, bats, and toads. Oh my.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a joke in there somewhere. I swear, like rats and bats and toads.
I mean, rats, bats, and toads sound like a witch's
It sounds like a witch's
entourage.
brew or something,
Toil, like, no, the what is it, like, boil,
The familiars?
something, toil, yeah. The familiars? Oh my god, that's kind of cute.
I quite
That
like
is
that
really
joke,
cute.
Kind of
Because you're familiar, and also you're familiars.
That's
quite cute, actually.
The Halloweenies.
The Halloweenies, the Yuki Spookies.
The Halloweenies is so good. Actually, that's, this is something that I might sort of just quickly ask here as we're thinking about it. I know that obviously it's still the height of summer in Beast Fables world at the moment, but like, as we are approaching Spooky Day, do we want to maybe do like a one-off episode of ghost stories? Where like Ludson,
like campfire stories?
Yeah, like Ludson, Pip, and Balthazar sit around a campfire and tell ghost stories one night, and that could be a kind of like a little
Halloween
mini,
special.
Yeah, a little Halloween special of Beast Fables.
I do like the idea of like, because obviously I feel like Beast ghost stories could range from things that are like laughably cute to like the terrifying realization of how scary like a hawk can be.
Oh my god, yes.
I was like, had the horrible thought of like, Lutzen and Pipistrel are like, here's the scary stories, and then Balthazar's like, I remember the war.
Oh my god. Like, once there was a spider in my workshop, and like, I was taken by a boar, nearly killed it alive.
A boar spider.
I saw a man die, or a toad die.
Oh my god.
And an extra little reminder for next week, we are taking part in Roll20Con. Totally didn't forget about that.
Oh, yeah, what? It's on the weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not playing on Wednesday, we are playing on Saturday the 24th.
Oh, okay.
Can you remind us the hour?
5 o'clock British summertime. So that we are
5 p.m.
12 o'clock on East Coast and 9 in the morning on West Coast.
Okay.
Hooray.
So it's going to be the 24th?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think I realized that we'd be playing at 5 p.m. and just coincidentally, I have that weekend off.
Thank God.
By a stroke of luck, it just so
Wow.
happens that my plans are free that weekend, because I think I had understood at some point that we're playing at like 2 p.m., which I could have done. That's good to know. Awesome. Hey, 5 p.m. we'll be playing then on Saturday the 24th.
Yeet.
Hell yeah.
I'm like moving, not that day or that weekend, but like I will be getting things organized, so I can probably still play, but I'll keep you guys posted.
Good to know, because we'd booked in the Roll20Con like weeks ago, and it's just popped up on my calendar like, you're doing a thing, and I'm like,
Like,
oh, yes, but that'll be really fun. Yeah, so it's a nice little outro. Let's shout stuff out, reintroduce ourselves. I am Brian Tyrrell, I use he, him pronouns. This has been Beast Fables, and I have been your narrator. You can check out all the cool stuff I do at doad.co.uk and at Dungeons on a Dime on Twitter, Instagram, and the general internet. I have a Kickstarter that will be coming out soon for the Vice and Virtue system, and I'm going to be recording some cool videos and extra things for that the next couple of weeks, and it's going to be launching beginning of November. And I just, literally a couple hours ago, in the middle of the stream, announced that I'm now stocking with Proud Geek as well, for In the Red and other stuff as well. So if you want to get some cool, queer, role-playing content, you can go to Proud Geek and get some stuff. And also buy my book, please.
Yeah, buy Brian's book.
Buy Brian's book.
Give Brian money.
Buy it.
Money.
Just buy it.
Next up on the outro introduction is Sir Balthazar.
Yes, or known in real life, I suppose, as Ver. I have been Ver. You can find me on social media at Verface on Twitter. You can find me on Tumblr at Sticks and Sharks. And I also have a Patreon at Verface, similar to my Twitter. Brian, thank you very much for having me. This, as usual, was a blast, and I'm very excited to see where our adventure takes us next week.
Yee. Next up is Pipistrel.
Hello, I am a puddle personified, otherwise known as Atlanta. Also occasionally referred to as Pipistrel. You can find me on the general internets at Alpaca Scribbles on Twitter, at Alpaca_Scribbles on Instagram, at Alpaca Scribbles on Patreon, although it is paused currently. I have nothing to plug as I have nothing to do, but I am enjoying Beast Fables, and if you want to see just all the general doodles that I do for this game, they all go up on my Patreon, or at the very least, most of them go up on my Patreon. Occasionally I do the thumbnails for the videos as well. And Brian, again, thank you so much for this game. Obviously, to Fraser and Ver, again, wonderful playing with you. This was a nice casual episode.
Yeah, finally, no, like
Impending
horrible.
doom.
Yeah, very relaxing.
Exactly,
Very.
and is all good. So thank you.
Don't worry, we'll get back to the adrenaline-filled danger noodles next week.
Oh, don't.
Yay!
I don't need more danger noodles in my life.
And speaking of Danger Noodle, the Danger Noodle himself,
Oh man, that's
Fraser.
quite a title to follow. So I am the 10 rats in a human suit, Fraser. I go by he, him pronouns also, and I go by Lostastronaut on Instagram and Twitter with various underscores because I can't seem to get the same account name. I will sort it maybe one day. I don't really have much to plug at the moment. Just go and support all of the wonderful people who are currently playing today, and go buy Brian's book, which I also worked on in the Red with. I did the front and back cover. That's kind of it. And again, this was so much fun, and I'm very glad to be a part of this, and excited to see where we lead next.
Yeah.
That has been us for Beast Fables. We hope you have a wonderful day. We shall see you soon. I'm doing a little beast face.
Little doobly-doo.
Little
Yes.
face.
I shall see
Bye.
you soon. Bye for now.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Good.